Chapter 2743. The ancient devil used a secret technique to hide in the void. He thought that the descendant of the martial ancestor wouldn't be able to find him. He didn't expect that the descendant of the martial ancestor would use the heaven-punishing 9 swords to force him out. Not only was this person the descendant of the martial ancestor, but he had also received the inheritance of the sword ancestor. To the demons, such a person was a great threat. Die! The ancient devil roared and swooped down from the sky. Terrifying demonic energy exploded. The entire world seemed like it was going to collapse. Cracks in the void extended for millions of miles. Come on, you should have done this earlier. Jiu Fei's blood was boiling. Chaotic qi surged from his body. His entire being was exuding an extremely strong qi. The void around him was being destroyed. Even the void couldn't contain his extremely strong martial body. Rumble, the earth and sky shook. Jiu Fei used the primal chaos fist. It was the simplest fist technique, but it had terrifying power. Boom! A loud sound was heard. Jiu Fei's fist and the ancient devil's demonic palm collided. A powerful force exploded. The void was destroyed. The entire world was about to be destroyed. However, at the moment when the void was about to be destroyed, the extreme demonic formation finally exploded. Ancient demonic runes appeared in the void and stabilized the collapsing world. The two silhouettes were moving quickly. It was like 2 gods of war were engaged in a world-ending battle. It was extremely terrifying. The cultivators of the other regions were startled. This battle was too terrifying. If it was outside, it would be enough to destroy an entire region. Fortunately, they were fighting inside the extreme demonic formation. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. One should know that the heaven realm was boundless. If one region was destroyed, it would be an unimaginable disaster. Countless living beings would die. Bzzz. 9 rays of sword light pierced through the void, breaking through layers of demonic qi. They slashed towards the ancient devil. The heaven-punishing 9 swords was indeed worthy of being called the supreme sword Dao. Jiu Fei was like the incarnation of the sword ancestor. He waved his hand and the sword qi soared to the sky. Even the ancient devil's demonic technique was destroyed in one slash. Damn it! The ancient devil roared again and again. If he was at his peak, he could easily wipe out a group of humans like this. He wouldn't be as sullen as he was right now. Moreover, Jiu Fei had not used any martial arts techniques yet. What ancient devil? He's just SOSO. Jiu Fei said disdainfully. The ancient devil was both shocked and angry. This human was too evil. He wanted to tear him to pieces and eat him. Devouring heaven. The ancient devil roared in anger. An endless amount of demonic energy appeared and a black whirlpool appeared. A heaven-devouring power emerged from the whirlpool and rushed towards Jiu Fei. Under the suppression of the extreme devil formation, Jiu Fei didn't even have the chance to escape. However, he did not plan to escape. Instead, he stood there unmoving like a mountain. No matter how strong the devouring power was, it was unable to move him in the slightest. That's all. Jiu Fei leaped up and charged towards the depths of the vortex. Haha, come. You'll die if you enter. The ancient devil laughed. Is that so? But, if I don't want to die, nobody can kill me. Jiu Fei said nonchalantly. He was extremely confident. One should know that he had an undefeatable heart. As long as he was undefeatable, nobody could kill him. Boom! Jiu Fei disappeared into the depths of the whirlpool. It was a terrifying demonic area. It was as if it was connected to the real hell. Demons danced around everywhere. Jiu Fei landed on a bloody mountain peak. It was pitch black all around. Occasionally, bloody lights would shoot out from the ground. The demonic energy was boundless. This was a demonic area made of bones and flesh. Blood flowed on the ground and demonic energy lingered. Roar! A terrifying demonic howl resounded from the depths of this world. After that, an incomparably huge demonic figure walked out from the depths of this demonic realm. The heavy footsteps shook the entire demonic area. What is the ancient devil doing? Ji Yufei couldn't help knitting his brows when he saw that demonic figure. It was a human-shaped demonic being that was incomparably terrifying, like a huge mountain. Humans were as tiny as ants in front of this demonic being. Roar! The giant demon roared, and the blood-red mountains immediately crumbled into dust, dissipating into the void. Very quickly, the demonic shadow noticed Ji Yufei. There were no living beings as strong as Ji Yufei in this area. Ji Yufei was like a bright lamp in the dark of this demonic realm, attracting countless demonic creatures in this world. The demonic shadow rushed towards Ji Yufei and punched Ji Yufei. The fist was as big as a mountain. It came down from the sky and shook the air. Swoosh! Ji Yufei took a step forward and dodged the attack. "Behold my heaven and earth image!" Ji Yufei shouted. His body flashed, and his entire body became taller than a mountain. Just like the demonic shadow, he towered over the heavens. "You take my fist as well," Ji Yufei said as he punched out. The giant demon didn't seem to know how powerful and terrifying the human in front of him was. He swung his fist to meet Ji Yufei's fist. Bam! Catcher! A heavy sound rang out, accompanied by the sound of bones breaking. The demonic shadow's fist exploded, turning into a black mist of blood. The demonic shadow, which was even bigger than a mountain, was sent flying by Ji Yufei's punch. Boom! The demonic shadow landed on the ground, causing the ground to shake violently. Smoke and dust rose up. "Ancient devil, come out and fight if you've got the guts. Why did you send these small shrimps to their deaths?" Ji Yufei didn't put this giant demon in his eyes at all. At his cultivation level, he could even easily transform into a bigger and bigger creature. "Haha, we'll see if you can get out of here." Ancient Devil's voice came, but it sounded as if he was in the distance. Even Ji Yufei found it difficult to sense where Ancient Devil was, which made him feel uneasy. He felt as if he'd fallen into Ancient Devil's trap. "You cowardly rat! You call yourself the Elder of Demons? Bah!" Ji Yufei cursed. Roar! The demonic shadow that had been sent flying by Ji Yufei crawled up from the ground and leapt towards Ji Yufei. Bam! Ji Yufei casually punched, and the demonic shadow was sent flying again. It slammed into a mountain and rolled over a pile of rubble. "Whatever you say. Haha. You can stay here and play. I won't keep you company." After saying this, Ancient Devil didn't say anything else. "How dare you? You cunning bastard!" Ji Yufei raged. Just then, the demonic shadow leapt towards him again. Die. Chapter 2744. Ji Yufei was trapped by the Ancient Devil. He was trapped in the void of the demon realm. All he could see was demonic chi and crimson light. In the depths of the demon realm, there were powerful demons breathing demonic chi and absorbing the crimson light. It was a terrifying scene. However, Ji Yufei knew that these demons were nothing. They were just small fries. The Ancient Devil was nowhere to be found. Boom! Ji Yufei directly punched out. The powerful force punched a hole in the void in front of him, and chaos chi overflowed from the hole. "How dare you?" Ji Yufei knew that this place was not the Ancient Devil's inner world. It was a demon realm without a master. This surprised him. At this thought, a layer of sweat appeared on Ji Yufei's forehead. If it was really as he had guessed, it wouldn't be easy for him to leave this place. Roar! From the depths of the demon realm came the cries of demons. Some demons were alarmed, but they did not come out. These demons were not stupid. Even the giant demons had died at the hands of Ji Yufei. The demons did not dare come out. Not only did they not dare to come out, but they were also afraid that Ji Yufei would enter the depths of the demon realm. However, Ji Yufei did not care about these small fries. This time, he was in big trouble. If the Ancient Devil had sent this small world into the endless chaos, he would have to use extreme methods to return. He had the coordinates of a secret place in the eastern earth of the heaven realm. If worst came to worst, he could go back to the eastern earth of the heaven realm. Then, he would return to the northern snow region and enter the Forbidden Land to find the Ancient Devil. However, going back and forth would take a lot of time. Ji Yufei wouldn't take this path until the very end. However, no matter how he thought about it, he couldn't think of any other way. This made him very angry. Ji Fei sat cross-legged on a blood-colored mountain peak for over an hour. Looks like there's really no other way, Ji Fei muttered to himself. After that, a heaven-shaking aura erupted from his body. He stood up from the ground and the space around him trembled, twisting and distorting. Numerous black spatial cracks appeared in the air. This world was unable to withstand the supreme might emitted from his holy venerate martial body. Rumble. The entire world was shaking. Those demons in the depths of the demon domain were all incomparably terrified. Black spatial cracks extended out one after another. They were millions of miles long, tearing apart the entire world. He wants to destroy this world. Let's fight him to the death. At this moment, the devils in the depths of the demon domain already knew what Ji Fei wanted to do. He actually wanted to destroy this part of the world. These devils were horrified. One had to know that once this world was destroyed, they would be buried along with it. No one could resist the destructive power that came with the destruction of heaven and earth. They would be obliterated, their bodies and souls destroyed, and they wouldn't even be able to become ghosts. I'm going to die either way. Let's fight. A devil roared in rage. A devil shadow rushed out from the depths of the demon domain, rushing towards Ji Fei. Devil chi filled the sky, enveloping the entire world. A mere spark dares to compete with the radiance of the moon? Ji Fei casually slashed out with a sword light. The resplendent sword light was like a divine rainbow, breaking through the layers of devil chi and cleaving the devil that was rushing over into two. This was the might of the paragon sword Dao. This devil wasn't an ancient devil. It simply couldn't resist Ji Fei's heaven-punishing sword light and was directly killed by Ji Fei. The other devils originally wanted to rush out and fight Ji Fei. But when they saw that the devil was killed by Ji Fei, they retreated. At this moment, the demon domain was collapsing. With Ji Fei as the origin, the void was collapsing and the destruction was spreading out in all directions. To the current Ji Fei, destroying a part of heaven and earth was so simple. In truth, this demon domain was just an ownerless world. The laws of heaven and earth weren't complete. Once Ji Fei destroyed the primordial laws of this world would naturally collapse and be destroyed. This was the destruction of heaven and earth. Countless laws of heaven and earth collapsed. The entire demon domain became chaotic. Devil chi and bloody light kept erupting. The earth cracked and the sky collapsed. Chaotic energy kept seeping out from the cracks in the void. The entire demon domain was shrinking. The devils in the depths of the demon domain had no choice but to jump out. They broke through the void, wanting to escape. But when the power of laws swept over, one of the devils was immediately cleaved in two. Even their Yuan spirit couldn't escape. Their corpses fell from the sky. The remaining devils turned pale with fright when they saw this. When the world collapsed, the power of laws of heaven and earth would be released before dissipating. This kind of power could destroy everything in the world. These devils were also part of the world. When they were swept by the laws of heaven and earth, they naturally died. There was no longer any suspense. In the end, those demons all died in this world that was about to collapse. Not a single one of them managed to escape. Rumble. The demon domain was shrinking. The entire world shrank to a single point. Then, it exploded. Countless laws of heaven and earth collapsed, turning into a terrifying destructive power that swept in all directions. A world was destroyed. This sudden explosion of destructive power couldn't harm Ji Fei at all. He sat cross-legged in the void, untouched by the laws of heaven and earth. Even if there were endless laws of heaven and earth, they couldn't touch him. Damn, he's really willing. Ji Fei muttered to himself. Even when the demon domain was destroyed, the ancient devil didn't jump out. It seemed that the ancient devil had completely given up on this demon domain. Damned human race! While the demon domain was being destroyed, in the core of the northern snow region, a figure shrouded in devil chi suddenly became enraged. How dare you destroy my demon domain? How infuriating! The ancient devil gritted his teeth in hatred. An ancient world without a master wasn't easy to obtain. The ancient devil only had one ancient world, and he had refined it into a terrifying demon domain. Or rather, a heaven and earth prison was more suitable. This demon domain was where the ancient devil banished his prisoners. The devils in the depths of the demon domain were the prison guards. However, the ancient devil knew that this heaven and earth prison couldn't trap Gu Fei. It could, however, send Gu Fei into the endless void of chaos. That way, even if Gu Fei broke the heaven and earth prison, he wouldn't be able to find his way back. He would be lost in the endless void of chaos. However, the ancient devil didn't know that Gu Fei had the coordinates of the eastern land of the heaven world. He could use the formation platform to teleport back to the eastern land. In the chaos, Gu Fei did not hesitate. He took out the formation platform and stepped onto it. He activated the teleportation formation. A ball of divine light immediately emerged from the formation platform and enveloped him and the formation platform. They disappeared in the chaos void in an instant. Gu Fei wasn't happy that the ancient devil had forced him to this point. After an unknown amount of time, Gu Fei felt the formation around him shake. In front of him was a light from the outside world. Boom! He stepped onto the formation platform and landed in a small world. This was the last of the 13 mysterious underworld realms. It was the foundation of the mysterious dark sect in the eastern land. Of course, the members of the mysterious dark sect didn't need to hide anymore. The demon clan had replaced the ancient Yuan era in the eastern land. The ancient Yuan era was over. Gu Fei's sudden appearance made the members of the mysterious dark sect very nervous. Some of the experts rushed to where Gu Fei had appeared. Soon, Gu Fei was surrounded by a dozen experts from the mysterious dark sect. It's you. Chapter 2745. The news that Gu Fei had suddenly returned to the mysterious dark sect's territory spread like wildfire. The mysterious underworld saintess, who was also known as the mysterious dark sect leader, hurried back. Brother Gu, where did you come from? The saintess asked as soon as they met. Gu Fei didn't try to hide anything. What? Brother Gu actually went to the northern snow region? He even went to the Forbidden Zone. The mysterious underworld saintess was extremely shocked. She had also heard of the Forbidden Zone in the northern snow region. It was a place where one could only enter but not leave. The fact that Gu Fei could actually escape from that place really shocked her. Alright, I have to hurry back and settle the score with the ancient devil. Let's part ways here. Gu Fei wanted to leave. However, the mysterious underworld saintess stopped him and told him a piece of news. What? This news shocked Gu Fei. He immediately left the mysterious dark sect's territory and headed for the Celestial Emperor Palace controlled by the demon race. He wanted to use the demon race's transportation array to head to the northern snow region. The mysterious underworld saintess told him that the demon race had a transportation array that could send him to the northern snow region, as the demon lord had set off from Celestial City to the northern snow region. Very quickly, Gu Fei arrived at Celestial City. This used to be Celestial Emperor Yuan Gu's lair. However, it had now become a temporary residence of the demon lord Old Turtle. This was definitely a great humiliation for the ancient Celestial Emperor. However, the ancient Celestial Emperor hadn't made any moves. Even his lair had been breached by Gu Fei. The ancient Celestial Emperor's territory had all been taken over by the demon race. The people who had been loyal to the ancient Celestial Emperor had all been wiped out by the demon race. Gu Fei directly entered Celestial City without any obstructions. Although there were many demon race powerhouses in Celestial City, they all jumped out and greeted him respectfully when they saw the person who had barged in. Xiaoqing. Gu Fei met with Xiaoqing. The current Xiaoqing was overseeing the Celestial City and had become an overlord of a region. He controlled a large area of the Eastern Lands and was truly above tens of thousands of people. Of course, the Eastern Lands wasn't the world of the demon race. There was still the Devil's Den, the Mystic Dark Sect, and the Golden-Eyed Divine Ape Clan. The Golden Spirit Ape Yuan Hong had long since left the Eastern Lands to travel. Some people saw him heading west, as if he was heading toward the northern snowy region. Gu Fei was led into the Celestial City's City Lord's mansion by Xiaoqing. Big brother, I didn't expect to see you again so soon, Xiaoqing said. His eyes were incomparably bright. He was very happy to be able to see Ji Yufei again. He temporarily put down everything and came to see Ji Yufei. Old Tortoise went to the northern snowy region, right? Ji Yufei went straight to the point. Big brother, how did you know that? Xiaoqing asked. His expression became solemn. Ji Yufei actually knew about this. It should be known that this was a top secret among the demon race. Have you been very close to the Xianming Saintess recently? Ji Yufei suddenly looked at Xiaoqing and said. Xiaoqing blushed after hearing this. He knew what had gone wrong. He also knew how his big brother knew about the old tortoise. All right, I won't talk nonsense. I want to borrow the formation platform. Ji Yufei directly stated his intention. He wanted to go back to the northern snowy region and settle the score with the ancient devil. How dare he trick him? He had to pay a heavy price. Big brother, you want to, Xiaoqing said in surprise. The old tortoise was going to the northern snowy region to break through the forbidden area. Could it be that his big brother also wanted to break through the forbidden area? That's right, Ji Yufei said directly. He and Xiaoqing were brothers who had gone through life and death situations together. He did not hide anything from Xiaoqing and told him the reason why he wanted to go to the northern snowy region. What? Xiaoqing's jaw dropped after hearing this. His big brother seemed to be even more powerful than the old tortoise. He actually broke into the core area of the northern snowy region and fought with the ancient devil. Due to his carelessness, he was exiled by the ancient devil into the endless chaos. Finally, Xiaoqing brought Ji Yufei to a portal platform in Celestial City. Big brother, take care. Before Ji Yufei stepped onto the platform, Xiaoqing hugged Ji Yufei tightly and then let go of Ji Yufei. Ji Yufei did not say anything else. He stepped onto the platform and activated it. Then, he continued on his way to the northern snowy region. It had to be said that the old tortoise's methods were truly terrifying. Soon, Ji Yufei once again felt the unique aura of the northern snowy region. His figure appeared on an array platform. This array platform was built in a snow valley. There were 2 experts from the demon clan guarding this array platform. When the 2 experts from the demon clan saw someone crossing over from the Eastern Territory, they were shocked to the extreme because that person wasn't Little Qing, who was guarding the Eastern Territory. However, the 2 monster clans were relieved when they saw the newcomer's appearance. The 2 monster clans often followed the old tortoise, so they had naturally seen Ji Yufei before. The 2 demons quickly stepped forward and bowed to Ji Yufei. Ji Yufei only nodded at the 2 demons and directly rose into the sky. He rushed towards the depths of the northern snowy region and disappeared between heaven and earth. It was night time. The northern snowy region was the most dangerous at night. However, Ji Yufei was not afraid because there were not many people who could hurt him in this world. Boom! Just as Ji Yufei flew over a large frozen lake, a loud noise came from below. The frozen lake suddenly exploded. At the same time, a huge figure rushed out of the lake and pounced towards Ji Yufei in the sky. You want to die? I'll fulfill your wish, Ji Yufei said in a deep voice. Then, he waved his right hand and a dazzling sword light immediately rushed out from his hand, slashing towards the black figure that was charging towards him. Without any suspense, the heaven-punishing sword light was simply invincible. It directly strangled the black figure into several pieces and it fell from the sky. At this time, Ji Yufei finally saw what it was. The black figure was a flood dragon, an old flood dragon. Ji Yufei did not stop. He directly rushed over the lake and disappeared into the night at an extremely fast speed. Soon, Ji Yufei was able to sense the aura that was spreading out from the northern forbidden zone. Ancient devil, I am here again. This time, I will take your life. Ji Yufei gritted his teeth. He did not hesitate and directly rushed towards the northern forbidden land. Then, he rushed into the northern forbidden land and headed towards the core area of the northern forbidden land. At this time, the core area of the northern forbidden land was very lively. The ancient devil was fighting against the invading demons. The atmosphere in the core area was very tense. When Ji Yufei arrived, The ancient devil was fighting against a great demon. This was a great battle between demons. Once they met, they would not rest until one of them died. One should know that since ancient times, demons had been enemies. They had been fighting for countless years and both sides had suffered losses. However, no one could truly destroy the other. Chapter 2746. When Jiu Fei reappeared in the center of the Forbidden Land, the ancient devil was shocked. He looked at Jiu Fei in disbelief. "You what? Did you think I wouldn't be able to come back?" Jiu Fei stood in the void and stared coldly at the ancient devil in front of him. An extremely powerful heavenly venerate pressure erupted from his body. He was exiled to the endless chaos, and yet he found his way back. "How is this possible?" the ancient devil muttered. He didn't expect Jiu Fei to reappear so quickly. Even if he was a holy king, if he was lost in the endless chaos, he wouldn't be able to find his way back. But not only had this human found his way back to the real world, he had also appeared in front of him. The ancient devil couldn't accept this. "Nothing is impossible in this world," Jiu Fei said. At that moment, the great demon that was confronting the elder devil took advantage of the moment when the elder devil was distracted by Jiu Fei to attack him. Shua! A red light came from the ancient devil's hand and slashed towards the ancient devil. A sharp sword energy rippled through the area. The ancient devil sneered and opened his mouth. The sword light was swallowed into his stomach and turned into his demonic energy. "You don't know what's good for you." The ancient devil roared and rushed forward. He raised his hand and a black hand appeared in the air. It moved to grab the ancient devil. Shua! The red sword light cut through the black demon hand, and then went on to kill ancient devil. Wherever the red light went, it left behind a black crack in space. This ancient devil was very strong, and he had the strength to fight against the ancient devil. The two great experts clashed against each other, causing the core region of the Forbidden Zone to tremble. The energy fluctuations were too powerful. Jiu Fei didn't want to do anything. If someone was dealing with ancient devil, it would save him a lot of trouble. All he had to do was sit back and watch. Demons were mortal enemies. Once the experts of these two races met, it would be a life-and-death battle. The great demon was fighting with the ancient devil. Rumble! The mountains trembled as a terrifying might spread out. The ground cracked open, revealing pitch-black spatial cracks. Primal chaos chi seeped out from these spatial cracks. However, this kind of power couldn't destroy this world because this world was sealed by the extreme demonic formation. Otherwise, he would have fled a long time ago. The extreme demonic formation was activated, and an extreme aura descended from the sky. The space that was about to collapse was immediately fixed in place. However, Jiu Fei knew that it was impossible for this forbidden area to be flattened so easily. The aura of the extreme demonic formation made his heart palpitate. Boom! Bang! The great demons of the demon race and the ancient devil were fighting fiercely. Demon blood and devil blood dripped down from the sky, dyeing the ground red. The air was filled with a foul stench. Jiu Fei stood in the sky. Seeing this scene, he couldn't help but be shocked. Was this great demon an ancient demon? Otherwise, how could he be so strong? The great demon's battle prowess surprised Jiu Fei. The ancient devil wasn't as strong as he used to be. His cultivation had fallen from the extreme Tao. Even so, he wasn't an ordinary saint. Not even a saint sovereign could kill him. Roar! The great demon continued to roar. His voice shook the sky, shaking the hearts of the other experts. Boom! Another muffled sound. The two figures separated. "Old devil, give me your life." The great demon roared as he charged towards the demon. Demonic light shot up to the sky from his body and the silhouette of a huge beast appeared on his body. "You will be the one to die," the ancient devil roared. His body flashed and disappeared. Then, a black whirlpool appeared in the sky. A heaven-devouring power emerged from the whirlpool. He was going to devour this great demon. A great amount of blood was the best tonic for demons. If the ancient devil could devour this great demon, he would be even more ferocious than before. "Die!" the great demon roared. 9 beams of demonic light rushed out of his body and turned into 9 divine rainbows that looked like 9 heavenly swords. They cut through the void and destroyed the huge vortex in the void. So strong. The ancient devil was shocked. He knew that if he didn't use his full strength, he wouldn't be able to defeat this great demon. Whoosh! A beam of demonic light shot out from the ancient devil's body. It turned into a demonic blade that met the great demon's sword light. A terrifying demonic energy filled the air. However, Ji Yufei knew that this forbidden area wouldn't be destroyed so easily. The demonic energy of the extreme Tao made his heart beat faster. Boom! Bang! The great demon and the ancient devil were fighting fiercely. Demon blood and demonic blood fell from the sky, dyeing the ground red. The air was filled with a pungent smell. Ji Yufei stood in the sky. Seeing this, he couldn't help but be shocked. Could this great demon be an ancient devil? Otherwise, how could he be so strong? The great demon's battle prowess surprised Ji Yufei. The ancient devil wasn't as strong as he used to be. His cultivation had fallen from the extreme Tao. Even so, this ancient devil wasn't an ordinary saint. Not even a saint sovereign could kill him. Roar! The great demon continued to roar. His voice shook the sky, shaking the hearts of the other cultivators. Boom! Another muffled sound. The two figures separated. Old devil, give me your life. The great demon roared and rushed towards the ancient devil. Demonic light shot up to the sky. The silhouette of a giant beast appeared on his body. You will be the one to die. The ancient devil roared. His body flashed and disappeared. Then, a black whirlpool appeared in the sky. A heaven-devouring energy came out of the whirlpool. He was going to devour this great demon. A great amount of blood was the best tonic for demons. If the ancient devil could devour this great demon, he would be even more ferocious than before. Die! The great demon roared. 9 beams of demonic light rushed out of his body and turned into 9 divine rainbows that looked like 9 heavenly swords. They cut through the void and destroyed the huge vortex in the void. So strong. The ancient devil was shocked. He knew that if he didn't use his full strength, he wouldn't be able to defeat this great demon. Whoosh! Chapter 2747. The life forms that could enter the core region of the Forbidden Land were all extremely powerful. They were at least holy venerates, and they were experts among holy venerates. However, there were some who didn't show themselves and didn't enter the core area. The expert who entered the core area wanted to retreat, but he couldn't open a path. This made the expert's hair stand on end. Preposterous! The expert roared. The demonic clouds in the sky were scattered by the sound waves. It was even more powerful than the azure dragon's howl. Black spatial cracks appeared in the sky. I'll be able to leave after killing this elder devil. Ji Yufei, who had been watching this scene coldly, suddenly said. Correct. The expert nodded and flew up into the sky. His killing intent surged towards the devil. Brat, you dash. The devil glared at Ji Yufei. This human was too despicable. An even more intense battle erupted. The expert's cultivation and combat prowess were extremely high. He raised his hand and unleashed a supreme technique that shattered the void and attacked the devil. The devil also attacked with all his strength, wanting to kill the devil. But Ji Yufei didn't have any intention of interfering. Bang! With a muffled sound, the devil was blasted away. Roar! The devil roared to the sky. Demonic energy surged from his body. Demonic runes appeared within the demonic energy, drawing upon the power of the devil path. Clang! When ancient devil showed his power, his law god chains appeared. Holy power came from them, suppressing ancient devil's demonic power. Damn it! The devil was furious. If he wasn't suppressed by the power of laws, he wouldn't have been forced into such a miserable state. He had all his demonic techniques, but he couldn't use them. This made him so depressed that he wanted to vomit blood. Kill! That expert roared in rage as a beam of divine light shot out from the center of his brows. Within the divine light, there was a divine weapon. It was a gigantic halberd. Bzzz. The halberd buzzed, and an extremely violent aura spread out from the halberd. Numerous spell symbols emerged on the surface of the halberd, densely packed together. The strong warrior grabbed the halberd and attacked Ancient Devil. Roar! A terrifying roar resounded in the sky. The expert brandished his halberd and a gigantic dragon shadow emerged from the halberd. It was as if it had transformed into a mighty dragon and was about to devour the Ancient Devil. The great dragon halberd. Ji Yufei's heart couldn't help but shudder when he saw this. This halberd was very similar to the mortal world's southern wasteland Azure Dragon Clan's ultimate treasure. The Azure Dragon Clan's ultimate treasure was a halberd called the Great Dragon Halberd. The Great Dragon Halberd was a supreme treasure of the Azure Dragon Clan. It was the weapon of the Azure Dragon Heavenly Emperor. It had an unimaginable murderous nature. When Ji Yufei fought with the Azure Dragon back then, he had experienced the power of the halberd. Naturally, he knew how terrifying it was. Boom! The space trembled. The halberd's murderous aura tore apart heaven and earth, sending the devil flying again. Ji Yufei's heart palpitated. A peerless expert of the Azure Dragon Clan. Ji Yufei mumbled to himself. This great halberd was very similar to the Great Dragon Halberd, both exuding a baleful aura and incomparably ferocious might. One had to know that the real Great Dragon Halberd was the Azure Dragon Holy Emperor's divine weapon. In the distant past, the Azure Dragon Heavenly Emperor was invincible in the southern wasteland. The halberd in his hand had drunk the blood of gods, Buddhas, demons, and devils. Preposterous. Even the real Azure Dragon is just a little loach in front of me. Who do you think you are? Roared the devil. He was extremely sullen. He was blown away by a guy with only the bloodline of the Azure Dragon. This almost drove him crazy. Relying on your seniority, I'll send you to the next world. The expert waved his halberd and attacked the devil. Since he couldn't leave this place, he might as well kill the devil first. Go to hell. Heavenly Demon Reincarnation Seal. Ancient Devil roared as he cast a demonic technique. He formed a seal with both hands and a terrifying demonic power spread out from the seal. Then, the movements of the cultivator slowed down. His entire person aged rapidly, as if all the essence in his body was being drawn out of his body. His physical body was rapidly deteriorating. What? That expert was greatly shocked. He felt as though his life force was rapidly being plundered. Very quickly, he became incomparably old. I'll send you into the cycle of reincarnation, never to reincarnate again, said the devil coldly. Just as the heavenly demon Samsara was about to annihilate the peerless expert of the Azure Dragon Clan, the ancient demon made a move. A dazzling demonic light descended from the sky and directly severed the heavenly demon Samsara. The peerless expert of the Azure Dragon Clan had already become incomparably old. After the heavenly demon reincarnation power was severed, his corporeal body immediately recovered. His chi and blood once again surged to the heavens, no longer declining. Whoosh! The expert of the Azure Dragon Clan took this opportunity to attack the devil. He swung his halberd and blood spurted out. The devil's arm was sent flying. Bang! At the same time, the elder devil screamed and stomped on the Azure Dragon Clan's peerless expert, sending him flying for thousands of meters. Blood trickled down the corner of his mouth. A layer of green scales covered the body of the peerless expert. This was the true form of the Azure Dragon. It was very strong, but even so, the Azure Dragon was injured. Not everyone could withstand the power of the ancient devil's kick. Ah! You hurt my demonic body, the ancient devil roared. His entire right arm had been chopped off by the halberd of a peerless expert. Devil blood splashed everywhere as the arm fell to the ground, revealing its true form. It was an incomparably huge devil hand covered in thick black scales. Too bad it's a devil's claw. Otherwise, it would be delicious. Ji Yufei looked at the ancient demon's arm on the ground and said, I'm so angry. The devil almost coughed up blood. Go die, all of you. The ancient devil was enraged. He used his left hand to summon his own demonic blood. This was the blood of a true demon. It had unimaginable power. In the next moment, the demonic blood turned into a monstrous demonic fire that swept towards Ji Yufei and the others. The devil was attacking the three of them at the same time. It was frightening. 1 against 3. You're seeking death, Ji Fei said. But he quickly realized that the demonic flames created by the demonic blood were terrifying. Everywhere the flames went, space was silently destroyed. Everything was burned into nothingness. The old devil is going all out, the expert of the Azure Dragon clan said. It's just a struggle before death, the devil said with disdain. The demonic flames swept over. The 3 experts didn't dare to be careless. They all used their techniques to defend themselves. However, the peerless powerhouse of the Azure Dragon clan quickly cried out in alarm. The demonic flames could actually corrode his protective divine light, making him incomparably shocked. Jiyu Yaro's expression also changed. His protective demonic light also dimmed under the burning of the devil flames. Chapter 2748. The ancient devil was going all out. He used his own demonic blood to create demonic fire. He wanted to burn Ji Fei and the others to ash. The power of the demonic fire was frightening. The protective lights of the 3 cultivators were corroded and became unstable. Even Ji Fei's protective stellar chi was no exception. Oh my, Ji Fei and the others were shocked. Within the demonic fire, demonic glyphs could be seen. This was a demonic fire of the great Tao that could burn everything in the world. Dragon and Phoenix dance. The ancient demon dragon Phoenix roared angrily and used the great technique of the dragon Phoenix tribe. The silhouette of a true dragon and godly phoenix rushed out of his body. The dragon roared and the phoenix cried. The power of the dragon and phoenix exploded from the ancient dragon phoenix's body. They took shape and dispersed the demonic fire. It was as if the real 9 heavenly dragons and divine phoenixes were dancing in the sky. A domineering aura appeared in the sky. The ultimate power erupted, and the power of the true dragon and the divine phoenix intertwined. The power that erupted was many times more powerful than a single power. Boom! The dragon and phoenix flew towards the ancient devil. The demonic fire dissipated in the air, dispelled by the power of the dragon and phoenix. Without any suspense, the ancient devil was thrown back again. He coughed up blood. How is this possible? The ancient devil roared. Blood dripped from his severed arm. Every drop of blood burned in the air, releasing terrifying demonic energy. The demonic fire that had been dispersed by the true dragon and godly phoenix gathered from all directions once again. It enveloped the entire world and swallowed the true dragon and godly phoenix into the demonic fire. The demonic fire that the ancient dragon and phoenix had created was enveloped by the demonic fire. Their bodies dimmed and the glyphs inside them showed signs of collapsing. What are you waiting for? The ancient demon dragon phoenix found it hard to hold on. She hurriedly transmitted her voice to Ji Fei and the peerless expert of the Azure Dragon tribe. Boom! Ji Fei moved. His body exploded with a chaotic energy that repelled the demonic fire. Then, like a god from chaos, he rushed towards the ancient devil. Bang! A chaotic fist broke through the demonic fire and smashed towards the ancient devil. The power of chaos was like 100,000 volcanoes erupting at the same time. The entire world seemed to collapse, and everything was crushed. This punch had the power to destroy the world. This was the most direct and simple eruption of supreme power. The power of this punch was also the most direct manifestation. Sometimes, the simplest and most direct combat skills could display power beyond one's expectations. Ji Fei hadn't done anything yet because he wanted to see what Ancient Devil would do when he was cornered. But now, he had no choice. He could sense that the space around him had become unstable. The extreme demon formation was definitely set up before the Ancient Devil's cultivation had fallen from the extreme Tao realm. This demonic formation did not have any offensive power, but it was able to break the sacred formation that was suppressing Ancient Devil. Ancient Devil regained some of his freedom. However, once the extreme demonic array collapsed, the extreme saint array that was supported by the demonic array would once again suppress it. At that time, even Ji Fei and the others would be suppressed by the extreme saint array. At that time, even if the Ancient Devil did not make a move, the extreme Tao sacred array would kill Ji Fei and the others. Bang! Demonic blood sprayed everywhere. Ji Yufei's punch had sent Ancient Devil flying. At this moment, the Azure Dragon rushed past Ancient Devil. Ancient Devil's body was cut in half, and the lower half fell from the sky. The Azure Dragon's halberd was the King Halberd. It contained the power of the King Realm. Even Ancient Devil would be hurt if he was struck by it. The three of them were working together. Even a quasi-supreme being would be scared, let alone Ancient Devil, who had been suppressed for so many years. "You want to kill me? You three will die with me," Ancient Devil roared madly. The upper half of his body began to burn, and a violent wave of energy erupted from his upper body. Boom boom boom. At the same time, the demonic formation that covered the entire area began to collapse. Holy energy began to seep in. This was not a good thing for Ji Yufei and the others. "How dare you?" Ji Yufei stepped forward and appeared in front of Ancient Devil. Then, he pointed his finger. Fart. Ancient Devil's head was pierced. "You can't kill me, kid." Ji Yufei's finger had pierced through his forehead, but he wasn't dead yet. Devil blood flowed down his face, making him look miserable. "Let's go." That supreme expert of the Azure Dragon clan wielded his halberd and directly tore through the void, charging into the primal chaos. He wanted to escape from this place, but very quickly, he retreated. An extremely holy aura emanated from the primal chaos void. There were extreme Dao runes faintly appearing, and even the primal chaos void was sealed. What? Ancient Devil Dragon Phoenix was shocked. He knew he was in trouble. The holy formation had been sealed. Even if he broke through space, he wouldn't be able to escape. Whoosh. Ji Yufei took out his fearsome saber and cut the upper half of the devil's body in half. The fearsome saber released a heaven-devouring power, and it swallowed all of the devil's essence chi into the body of the saber. Bzzz. The saber hummed. "This is..." Ancient Devil couldn't believe it. His energy was being sucked out of his body by the black saber. Even his soul was being sucked out of his body. His soul was terrified. It was as if he had seen the most unbelievable thing in the world. He struggled, trying to escape. However, after the peerless ominous saber was stained with the demon's blood, the saber spirit actually awakened from its slumber. A dragon shadow rushed out of the ominous saber and swallowed the terrified demon's soul in one gulp. At this time, a few divine lights rushed out of the Ancient Devil's body. Those were nomological Dao patterns. The nomological Dao patterns rushed into the sky and broke through the collapsing Extreme Devil array. Then, they fused into the Extreme Saint array. Bzzz. The void trembled, and the Extreme Dao Sacred array that was pressing down actually stopped. A beam of divine light broke through the layers of demonic clouds and landed in this part of the void that was about to collapse. "Ji Yufei, are you dead yet? If not, come out." A voice came down from the sky. "Old Turtle." When Ji Yufei heard this voice, he immediately put away his peerless ominous saber and charged towards the divine light. He entered the divine light and soared into the sky. Chapter 2749. At the critical moment, the old tortoise finally appeared. He broke through the extreme sacred array, allowing Ji Yufei and the others to escape. Rumble. Just as Ji Yufei and the others were being led away by the divine light that descended from the sky, the extreme sacred array's power erupted. The extreme demonic array immediately collapsed, and the endless demonic power was obliterated by the extreme sacred array's power. A part of the void was obliterated by the extreme sacred array and turned into nothingness. The Ancient Devil was dead, killed by Ji Yufei's peerless saber. This shocked the Azure Dragon clan's expert and the ancient demon Dragon Phoenix. The black saber that Ji Yufei used to kill the Ancient Devil seemed to be the legendary peerless saber. The peerless saber seemed to have a great origin. After creating the Extreme Dao Sacred Array, the peerless powerhouse of the Azure Dragon clan took his leave. The ancient demon Dragon Phoenix took a deep look at the old tortoise and left as well. Only Ji Yufei and the old tortoise were talking. Ji Yufei now knew why the old tortoise had not shown up yet. It turned out that the old tortoise really did know about the forbidden land of the northern snowy region. The forbidden land was full of divine and sacred medicines. It was these things that attracted the attention of countless cultivators every time the forbidden land opened. No one knew that the Forbidden Land was a big conspiracy. The old tortoise was the Tai Huang's son. He naturally knew many of the world's secrets that others had not even heard of. The Forbidden Land was one of them. He had been hiding in the dark and did not care about the battle at the heart of the Forbidden Land. Boom! At this moment, a loud noise was heard. The heart of the Forbidden Land collapsed. The laws of heaven and earth were obliterated by the extreme sacred array. A terrifying power surged out. The storm of destruction swept out, shaking the entire Forbidden Land. Huge spatial cracks appeared in the void. All the creatures that entered the Forbidden Land did not know what was happening. They were all extremely nervous. Some of the creatures left the Forbidden Land immediately. Jiu Fei and the old turtle directly rushed out from the depths of the forbidden area. He saw countless living beings fleeing for their lives. They had no choice but to escape. The extreme Tao sacred array was displaying its might, and there were signs of it destroying this forbidden area. He saw the silhouette of the Zhao clan's clan head. That fellow Zhao Yuntian led a group of people and directly rushed out of the forbidden zone, wanting to leave this place as far as possible. Roar! In another direction, in another region, a wolf's howl rang out. A gigantic shadow of a flying divine wolf appeared between heaven and earth. An incomparably powerful figure rushed out from that area. It was Ancestor Celestial Wolf. Even an existence like Patriarch Skywolf had to flee for his life, let alone the other cultivators. Jiu Fei and Old Tortoise directly left the Forbidden Zone. The Forbidden Zone continued to collapse from the inside out, and everything was crushed and obliterated by the mighty power. What exactly happened? Some people were shocked to the extreme. The heaven-defying good fortune has been taken away. Some people were still thinking about the great fortune in the Forbidden Zone. At this time, the ground sank, the houses collapsed, and the huge Forbidden Zone almost completely collapsed. The inside of the Forbidden Zone had become a ruin. Although the outside of the Forbidden Zone was greatly affected, there were no signs of it collapsing. In other words, the Forbidden Zone had been destroyed, leaving only some things that even ordinary cultivators would not be interested in. From now on, the Northern Snow region's Forbidden Zone was removed from the Heaven Realm. No one expected such an ending. Let alone the forces of the Northern Snow region, even the entire Heaven Realm's cultivation world was shocked. No one knew what happened. Jiu Fei did not forget his purpose of coming to the Northern Snow region. His purpose was not to break into the Forbidden Zone and compete with countless geniuses for the great fortune. He wanted to find Zhao Ziru, but strangely, Zhao Ziru's whereabouts were a mystery. Even the Celestial Wolf clan could not find her, let alone other cultivators. Where is she? Jiu Fei muttered to himself. You came to find Zhao Ziru, right? Old Tortoise said. In fact, he came to the Northern Snow region to find Zhao Ziru. He did not find Zhao Ziru, but she saved Jiu Fei's life at a critical moment. What are you going to do now? Old Tortoise asked Jiu Fei. I don't know. I'll just take it one step at a time. Jiu Fei said. If he could not find Zhao Ziru, then the rebuilding of the Supreme Mystery Sect would have to be delayed again. This made him very unhappy. One must know that the longer it was delayed, the more disadvantageous it would be. One must know that the chaotic times were coming. No one knew where Zhao Ziru had gone. Jiu Fei and Old Tortoise temporarily returned to Celestial Wolf City. They planned to stay in the Northern Snow region for a while to see if they could find Zhao Ziru. Although the Northern Snow region was a bitter and cold place, there were also many great sects and clans. The Golden Rock clan was located in a mountain range. It was a magical mountain range. Because it was spring all year round, it was not invaded by ice and snow. On a golden mountain range in this area, there was a palace built. It was a golden palace that stood on the peak of the mountain. The Golden Rock great ancestor brought his precious grandson back to the ancestral court of the Golden Rock clan. The Golden Divine Mountain was very mystical. It contained an endless amount of metal essence. This was definitely a holy land for practicing metal cultivation methods. Cultivating on the Golden Sacred Mountain would definitely achieve twice the results with half the effort. This time, the Golden Rock great ancestor obtained the Golden Sun sacred fruit. He directly ordered his grandson to take the fruit and cultivate in seclusion. The Golden Rock great ancestor was preparing for the coming chaotic times. The Celestial Wolf clan also became uneasy. In Celestial Wolf City, the Celestial Wolf great ancestor summoned his clansmen and ordered them not to easily leave the city. At this time, the northern snow region was already in chaos. The Zhao clan of the snowy region was hiding everywhere. They did not dare to appear in public. They were afraid that Jiyu Fei would find them for revenge. The whereabouts of the strongest expert of the Zhao clan was a mystery. No one knew when he would appear. This made the people of the Zhao clan very depressed. While Jiyu Fei and the old tortoise were looking for Zhao Ziru in the northern snow region, a shocking sound came from the extreme west of the heavenly realm. The creatures in the extreme west's forbidden area gradually became restless. Someone from the mortal realm walked on the path to heaven, causing demonic howls in the forbidden area. It was as if a group of demons was dancing. Someone from the mortal realm wanted to open the path to heaven. The dead spirits in the forbidden area were very uneasy. It was as if something bad was about to happen. The experts guarding outside the restricted area were also extremely fearful. The dead spirits in the forbidden area were extremely powerful. Last time, even the old tortoise couldn't kill all of them. Chapter 2750. In the extreme west of the heaven realm, there was a forbidden area called the West Underworld Ocean. Not long ago, the West Nether Ocean had become the most eye-catching region in the entire heaven realm. That was because someone had opened the ancient road to heaven in the mortal realm, and the exit of the ancient road to heaven in the heaven realm was the West Nether Ocean. Thus, if the living beings of the human realm wanted to enter the heaven realm, they would have to face the West Underworld Ocean. Even the son of the king of the demon lords of the heaven realm failed in his attempt to conquer the West Underworld Ocean. One could imagine how terrifying the West Underworld Ocean was. Inside the West Underworld Ocean, there were extremely powerful undying living beings. Just when the forbidden land of the northern snowy region was collapsing, a strange fluctuation came from the depths of the western underworld sea in the extreme west region. The ancient road to heaven that had been silent for a long time emitted a powerful aura of the divine path. It seemed that a divine-level existence had set foot on this ancient road and wanted to enter the heaven realm. However, there was still the West Underworld Ocean between the ancient road to heaven and the heaven realm. If one wanted to enter the heaven realm, he would have to face the West Underworld Ocean. However, at this time, the human realm had already spread the news that the exit of the ancient road to heaven was in a heaven and earth forbidden area. This could explain why even a saint-level expert would die on the ancient road. The heaven realm's forbidden area was too terrifying. 9 out of 10 people who entered the forbidden area would die inside. Rumble, a thunderous sound came from the depths of the West Underworld Ocean. The source of the sound was from the ancient road to heaven. A powerful Saint Chi surged out from the ancient road to heaven, as if a saint-level expert was going to cross the boundary and come here. Most of the existences who stepped on the ancient road to heaven would die on the way. Of course, there were exceptions. Saint-level existences were extremely powerful, they could also walk the ancient road to heaven. However, although those saint-level existences could walk from the human realm to the heaven realm, of course, it was not the real heaven realm. The existence of the Western Dark Ocean caused those powerful existences from the mortal world who wanted to enter the heaven realm to have no choice but to stop. The experts of the mortal world did not want to take the risk because even the ancient saints had fallen on the ancient road to heaven, let alone the others. When Jiyu Fei received the news and rushed towards the West Underworld Ocean, the entire West Underworld Ocean was no longer peaceful. The sky was covered with thick black clouds. From time to time, there would be mournful demonic howls resounding in the void. Boom! An extremely powerful aura surged out from the ancient road to heaven. Heavy footsteps resounded and a figure walked out from the ancient road to heaven. It was a white-haired old man with 9 runes coiling around him. A supreme aura of the divine way radiated from the white-haired old man. Very quickly, on the platform in front of the ancient road to heaven, streaks of blood-red light rushed out. Illusory figures stood up from the ground, emitting ominous sounds. The old man seemed to know what was going to happen. He took out a mirror from his body and shone it at the blood shadows. Under the light of the mirror, the bloody shadows dissipated and turned back into a bloody mist. The mirror in the old man's hand displayed great power. After the old man broke the ominous barrier on the platform in front of the ancient road to heaven, he wanted to enter the heaven realm. However, a terrifying roar was heard from the West Dark Sea the moment the old man charged out from the platform. A terrifying figure stood up from the West Underworld Ocean and slapped the old man. The powerful force raised a gust of wind. It was a humanoid creature, but it was unusually tall. The creature was 10 jong tall, like a small mountain. When it walked, the ground trembled. "Giant!" the old man exclaimed. The giant's slap did not hit the old man. The old man dodged it. Then, the old man used the transcendence of heaven and earth technique and his entire body became incomparably tall. When Jiu Fei arrived at the West Underworld Ocean, he happened to see a forbidden area creature fighting with an old saint. The battle was extremely intense. The cultivation and strength of the two great experts were similar, so it was not an easy task to determine the victor. In the end, the old saint directly grabbed the lower leg of the forbidden land creature and swung it around. With a bang, he ruthlessly smashed it into the netherworld sea below. It was like a mountain falling from the sky into the sea. The endless seawater directly drowned the forbidden area creature. Although the forbidden area creature was strong, it was not invincible. The old saint directly attacked from the sky. With a wave of his hand, rays of divine light pierced through the void and directly hit the forbidden area creature. Roar! The forbidden area creature roared. This level of attack was not enough to take the life of the forbidden area creature. In order to kill such an existence, special methods were needed. The terrifying sound waves swept out in all directions. The water of the entire West Underworld Sea was vast and mighty, forming terrifying waves that swept out in all directions. Rumble, the heaven and earth shook. Even the clouds in the sky were dispersed. A terrifying figure stood up from the West Underworld Ocean and slapped the old man. The powerful force raised a gust of wind. It was a humanoid creature, but it was unusually tall. This creature was 10 jong tall, like a small mountain. When it walked, the ground trembled. "Giant!" the old man cried out in alarm. The giant's slap didn't hit the old man. The old man dodged it. Then, the old man used the transcendence of heaven and earth technique. His whole body became incomparably tall. When Jiu Fei arrived at the West Underworld Ocean, he just happened to see a forbidden area creature fighting with an old saint. The battle was extremely intense. The cultivation and strength of the two great experts were similar, so it was not an easy task to determine the victor. In the end, the old saint directly grabbed the forbidden area creature's calf. Then, he swung it. Boom! He fiercely smashed it into the West Underworld Ocean below. Like a mountain falling from the sky into the sea, the endless seawater directly drowned the forbidden area creature. Although the forbidden area creature was very strong, it was not invincible. The old saint directly attacked from the sky. With a wave of his hand, rays of divine light pierced through the void and directly hit the forbidden area creature. Roar! The forbidden area creature roared. This level of attack was not enough to take the forbidden area creature's life. In order to kill such an existence, special methods were needed. The terrifying sound waves swept out in all directions. The water of the entire West Underworld Sea was vast and mighty, forming terrifying waves that swept out in all directions. Rumble. Chapter 2751. The ancient road to heaven that had been silent for a period of time had once again attracted countless gazes. An ancient saint venerable had set foot on this road, overcoming all obstacles along the way, and finally reached the end of the road. Even the ominous aura at the exit of the ancient road was dispelled by this ancient saint venerable using an ancient mirror. This was something that no one had expected. It seemed like this ancient saint venerable was very familiar with the ancient road to heaven. However, the real challenge that this ancient saint venerable had to face was the Western Dark Sea. Rumble, the heaven and earth shook. The creature from the Forbidden Land had unleashed its might. It was a human-shaped creature that was even taller than a mountain ridge. Each of its movements contained great power that could shatter the void. This was the terror and power of the Forbidden Lands creatures. However, the ancient Saint Venerable who had set foot on the ancient road was equally powerful. An ancient mirror appeared in his hand, and wherever the mirror's light shone, layers of black deathly aura were all dispersed. When the incomparably sacred light shone on the Forbidden Lands creature, white smoke immediately rose from its body. Roar! The Forbidden Lands creature roared in rage. A terrifying deathly aura spread out, causing countless creatures outside the Forbidden Land to feel their hearts palpitating. There was no suspense in what happened next. The Forbidden Lands creatures were extremely ferocious. They forced the ancient Saint Venerable back and directly entered the ancient road to heaven. The ancient road to heaven shook violently, but with the heavenly Tao platform stabilizing the ancient road, even if the ancient Saint Venerable were to fight inside, it would still be difficult to damage the ancient road. At this time, an even more powerful Forbidden Lands creature was startled and woke up from its slumber, forcing the ancient Saint Venerable to retreat. Roar! An earth-shattering roar came from the depths of the Forbidden Land. All the experts outside the Forbidden Land felt their blood and chi churning inside their bodies. Weaker beings were even forced to cough up blood by the roar that came from the depths of the Forbidden Area. Brother, how about we join hands and destroy the entire Forbidden Land? A voice sounded from behind Ji Fei. A figure walked towards Ji Fei. This person was the demon lord of the heaven world, the old turtle. Why are you here? Ji Fei was surprised to see the old turtle. Haha, you can come, but I can't. Old tortoise laughed. That's not what I meant. Ji Fei said. What do you think? Flattening the forbidden area and opening up the path of heavenly mortality is a very meaningful thing. Old tortoise said. Ji Fei thought for a moment before saying, do you think we can flatten this restricted area with just the two of us? Maybe, but how would I know if I haven't tried? Old tortoise pondered for a moment and said. In fact, he was not very confident. The old tortoise had attacked the Netherworld Sea once before, but it ended in failure. Even with the help of the ultimate demon weapon, it was difficult to flatten the forbidden area. The reason why old tortoise wanted Ji Fei to act was that Ji Fei had an extreme holy weapon on him. If he was well prepared, he might be able to use the power of the extreme holy weapon to level the forbidden zone. Of course, old tortoise could not guarantee success. I think it's better to forget about it. I don't want to take risks if I'm not confident. Ji Fei said. He had always been cautious. Since when did you become such a coward? Old tortoise glanced at Ji Fei and said. He wanted to goad Ji Fei into making a move. Don't waste your time. Ji Fei shook his head and said. Forget it, it doesn't matter if you don't make a move. Then lend me the extreme holy weapon. Old tortoise said helplessly. Lend me the extreme holy weapon. Ji Fei wondered why old tortoise kept wanting him to make a move. Was there something hidden in it? However, no one knew what old tortoise was planning. Hey, don't tell me you're not even willing to lend me your extreme path saint weapon. Old tortoise was a little unhappy. Ji Fei looked at old tortoise for a while, then took out the peerless ominous saber and handed it to old tortoise. When old tortoise took the peerless ominous saber, he only felt that his hand was heavy. This inconspicuous black saber was so heavy that he almost couldn't hold it. Haha, this time, I'm going to teach those guys in the forbidden area a lesson. Old tortoise said happily. At this moment, a flame fell from the sky and landed on Ji Fei's hand. It was a fire messenger talisman. Someone used this talisman to send a message to Ji Fei. When Ji Fei read the message in the fire messenger talisman, he couldn't help but be overjoyed. What's wrong? Old tortoise asked. He held the peerless ominous saber in his hand and was not afraid of the ominous chi on the ominous saber. If it was an ordinary person, the ominous chi condensed on the peerless ominous saber would invade their body the moment they touched the peerless ominous saber. Junior sister Zhao Ziru has a clue. Ji Fei said, his voice trembling a little. Is that so? Old tortoise was overjoyed. I want to go back to the northern snowy region. Ji Fei didn't want to waste time. He wanted to go back to the northern snowy region and there seemed to be someone in front of him who could send him back. Seeing Jiu Fei looking at him, Old Tortoise immediately puffed out his chest. "Let me borrow your formation platform." Jiu Fei was very straightforward. "Since you're lending me the supreme sacred weapon, I'll help you," Old Tortoise said, and took out a formation platform from his body. Without hesitation, Jiu Fei walked up to the platform and activated it. A strong light emerged from the platform and instantly enveloped him. Swoosh! The divine light flashed violently and pierced through the air, disappearing in the void in an instant. "All right, I'm going to start too." Old Tortoise immediately took action. He protected himself with the Tai Sovereign Seal and set up a large formation in the mountains outside the Forbidden Zone. He wanted to use the power of the formation to stimulate the peerless ominous saber's power. Once the god's will in the peerless ominous saber was awakened, it would be equivalent to the appearance of an extreme-grade supreme being. Just as Old Tortoise was about to attack the Forbidden Zone again, Jiu Fei had already returned to the northern snowy region. He went straight to Tianlang City and was personally received by the city lord of Tianlang City. Jiu Fei learned from old ancestor Tianlang that junior sister Zhao Ziru's whereabouts were very secretive. Someone had seen her heading deep into the extreme north. There's something in the extreme north. Jiu Fei wondered why Zhao Ziru wanted to go deep into the extreme north. "I'm not very clear about what happened there, but someone seemed to have seen an immortal there," old ancestor Tianlang said. What? Jiu Fei couldn't help but be shocked when he heard that. There were actually traces of immortals in the depths of the extreme north. This was too unbelievable. Old ancestor Tianlang said. What? Chapter 2752. In the deepest part of the extreme north, there was an unexplored area that had never been conquered by anyone. No one knew how big that area was or what was inside. In the heaven realm, there were too many unknown mysterious areas. These areas were not forbidden areas, but they were also full of danger. Perhaps there were powerful creatures from ancient times hiding there. Why would Zhao Ziru go to such a place? This made Jiu Fei unable to understand what was in the mysterious area that attracted Zhao Ziru. After Jiu Fei returned to the northern snow region, he learned about Zhao Ziru's whereabouts in detail. Only then did he decide to go and find Zhao Ziru. He wanted to find Zhao Ziru. He wanted to rebuild the Supreme Mystery Sect. Not only did he want to find Zhao Ziru, he also wanted to find the other disciples of the Supreme Mystery Sect. The extreme north was the name given to the northern region outside of the northern snow region. Behind the northern snow region was an endless world of ice and snow. It was a mysterious area that no one had ever been able to explore. When night fell, a figure crossed the northern snow region and entered the mysterious area, leaving no traces on the ground. The degree of danger in the mysterious area might not be any less than that of the forbidden area. Some people had always wanted to explore the mysterious area, but no one had ever succeeded. Especially those great sects and clans. They wanted to open up more territory, so they had sent people to enter the mysterious area. However, very few people could return. In the dark night, a figure arrived at the top of a mountain outside the mysterious area. In front of him was endless darkness, like a giant beast with its bloody mouth open. It could swallow any living creature that approached at any time. Is this the mysterious area? Jiu Fei stood at the top of the mountain and looked forward. It was a quiet area. There was no sound coming from it, but behind him, the roars of beasts could be heard from time to time. He seemed to be standing between two different worlds. Although behind him was a cold world, there was more or less some life force, but in front of him was a quiet world. Without any hesitation, Jiu Fei soared into the sky from the mountain peak and disappeared into the pitch-black world. He actually dared to enter that place. After Jiu Fei left, a figure appeared in the sky. This person was the Heavenly Wolf Patriarch. He had been following behind Jiu Fei the entire time. Only now did he reveal himself. The mysterious unknown region was full of unknowns. Even someone as powerful as a Heavenly Venerable would not dare to casually enter the unknown region. Naturally, old ancestor Sirius would not enter such a mysterious place. He glanced in the direction where Jiu Fei had disappeared, then turned around and left. The news of Jiu Fei entering an unknown region spread quickly. It was not a secret. At this moment, the happiest person was Zhao Yuntian, the leader of the Zhao family in the snowy region. No matter how strong Ji Yufei was, he could still die in that mysterious, unknown area. Haha, Ji Yufei is really stupid. He actually dared to enter such a place. He must be tired of living. In one of the secret strongholds of the Zhao family in the snow region, the family head of the Zhao family, Zhao Yuntian, was laughing. Recently, the Zhao family had been in a precarious situation. They could be replaced by other great forces at any time. The Golden Rock clan and the Heavenly Wolf clan were watching them like tigers watching their prey. But now, the biggest threat to the Zhao family was that they had entered an unknown region. This gave the Zhao family a chance to breathe. The Golden Rock clan and the Heavenly Wolf clan were planning to attack the Zhao family. However, the strongest cultivator of the Zhao family had suddenly returned. Therefore, the Golden Rock clan and the Heavenly Wolf clan did not dare to act rashly. The strongest cultivator of the Zhao family was also the strongest cultivator of the Shui region. TMPH, those guys want to replace the Zhao family as the overlord of the Shui region? Dream on. Zhao Yuntian sneered. Patriarch, should we teach them a lesson? Someone suggested. Yes, if the tiger does not show its power, they will think that we are sick cats. Someone nodded. Then what are you waiting for? Just go and do it. Zhao Yuntian said. Haha, all right. Those who wanted to fight laughed and turned around to leave. The people of the Zhao family from the Shui had been too sullen lately. They had been forced to abandon their ancestral city by one person and flee. It was time for the Zhao family to take action. Otherwise, they would be looked down upon by the other great forces. The best way to rebuild their prestige was to show the Zhao family's power. The Golden Rock clan had the Golden Rock ancestor, so the Zhao family was afraid of them. However, the Heavenly Wolf ancestor was different. Although the Heavenly Wolf ancestor was strong, he was not as strong as the Golden Rock ancestor. One should know that the Golden Rock ancestor was an ancient saint sovereign. Not long after the Heavenly Wolf ancestor returned to the city, the experts of the Zhao family arrived. Rumble, the entire city was shaking. The experts of the Zhao family were attacking the great formation of the city. The people of the Zhao family were not simple. They had saint sovereigns. After Ji Yufei left, the Zhao family had nothing to worry about. They could attack as they wished without fear of anyone. Heavenly Wolf ancestor, come out and face your death. Someone shouted. Beams of divine light descended from the sky, directly landing on Celestial Wolf City. The great city barrier array was under great attack, and it seemed like it could collapse at any moment. However, the Heavenly Wolf clan was not weak either. Otherwise, they wouldn't have become one of the strongest clans in the Shui region. A cold snort rang out from within Celestial Wolf City. An incomparably huge wolf appeared in the sky, howling at the sky as an extremely terrifying aura spread out. The Heavenly Wolf ancestor wouldn't just stand by and watch when the Heavenly Wolf clan was in trouble. Most of the living beings in the city were members of the Heavenly Wolf clan. The Zhao family is going to destroy the Heavenly Wolf clan today. Even if Ji Yufei comes, he won't be able to save the Heavenly Wolf clan. Someone shouted. His voice traveled into Tianlang City and into the ears of every Tianlang clansman in the city. However, unexpectedly, there was no commotion in the city. The members of the Heavenly Wolf clan were very calm. They weren't afraid at all. The Zhao family of the snowy region wanted to establish their power, so they went to the Celestial Wolf clan. However, the Celestial Wolf clan was not a weak clan. The Celestial Wolf clan was very murderous. They were born to be brave and fierce. Chapter 2753. Zhao Gang was an ancient saint from the Zhao family of the snowy region. He was only one step away from becoming a saint, a peak great saint. Zhao Gang actually had a close relationship with the Celestial Wolf clan. He was related to the ancestor of the Celestial Wolf clan, so he had no choice but to stand out and draw a line with the clan. Zhao Gang, you've gone too far. The ancestor of the Celestial Wolf clan gripped his wolf-headed staff and glared at Zhao Gang. It's not that I've gone too far, it's just that you don't know what's good for you. You actually want to use Ji Yufei to destroy the Zhao family. Zhao Gang said disapprovingly. Looks like you've made up your mind to destroy the Celestial Wolf clan, the elder sighed. What's the point of talking to this old man? What's the point of talking to this old man? Kill him and flatten Heavenly Wolf City. At this moment, a figure walked over from the distance. It was a young man with a pair of white eyebrows. This person was the white-browed saint ruler from the Zhao family of the snowy region. How arrogant! A voice rang out from Celestial Wolf City. Then, a figure walked out from the city. It was a middle-aged man with a murderous aura. Chumph, the ancestor of the Celestial Wolf clan, is hiding like a turtle. Do you only know how to send some juniors to their deaths? The white-browed saint ruler said. His eyes flashed with ferocity. What did you say? The middle-aged man was enraged. He flew up into the sky and faced the white-browed saint ruler. Zhao Gang's expression changed when he saw the middle-aged man from the Celestial Wolf clan. He seemed a little impatient. Die. At this moment, white-browed Saint King roared angrily and attacked the middle-aged man from the Celestial Wolf clan. 9 rays of divine light shot out from his body and turned into 9 streaks of sword light that pierced towards the middle-aged man. Powerful waves of sword chi spread out. Every beam of sword light slashed through the void, leaving behind a pitch-black spatial crack wherever it passed. Roar! The middle-aged man from the Celestial Wolf clan roared into the sky. An extremely powerful sound wave immediately spread out and the 9 rays of sword light that pierced towards him immediately collapsed. The howl of the Celestial Wolf. The white-browed Saint King was shocked. He quickly retreated, but even so, his soul was still shaken by the sound waves of the Heavenly Wolf howl. Blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. The Heavenly Wolf's howl was the Heavenly Wolf race's sound-killing technique. It was extremely powerful. In ancient times, there was an expert from the Heavenly Wolf race who had howled down the divine moon in the sky. The terrifying sound waves spread out, causing the void to tremble and pitch-black spatial cracks to appear. This, the combat strength displayed by the middle-aged man from the Heavenly Wolf clan, caused the experts of the Zhao family to be shocked. Only now did they realize that they might have underestimated the Heavenly Wolf clan. Kill. White-browed Saint King charged back with a gloomy expression. He had been forced back by the middle-aged man's roar, and this made him lose face. He wanted to tear this fellow apart. Swoosh! The center of the white-browed Saint King's eyebrows split open, and a divine bird flew out. It quickly enlarged, and a terrifying aura emanated from the divine bird. The Celestial Wolf Emperor was taken aback. Is this the Kuan Peng killing technique? The old man holding the wolf headstaff cried out in alarm. White-browed Saint King of the Zhao family had actually mastered the Kuan Peng killing technique. This was truly unbelievable. One should know that this was a secret technique of the Kuan Peng clan. The Heaven Realm also had the inheritance of the Kuan Peng, but there were not many Kuan Peng clansmen in the Heaven Realm. Even so, the Kuan Peng clan was still extremely powerful. The divine bird that flew out from white-browed Saint King's forehead pounced towards the Celestial Wolf Emperor. Rumble! The void trembled as the divine bird spread its wings, shattering the void. A terrifying destructive force spread from the divine bird. Do you think I'm afraid of you? The Wolf Emperor said in a low voice. Then, he transformed into a celestial wolf and pounced towards the divine bird. Seeing this, everyone was stunned. No one thought that the Wolf Emperor would be so powerful and ferocious. He directly fought against the Kuan Peng that the white-browed Saint King had transformed into. All right, let me send you on your way. At this moment, Zhao Gang rushed towards the old man of the Celestial Wolf clan. The coercion of a peak great saint erupted from his body, and rays of divine light lingered around him. The power of the Great Way was mighty. It seemed as if there were 3,000 great ways intertwining around Zhao Gang's body. It was frightening. Roar! The old man of the Celestial Wolf clan also immediately erupted with the power of the divine way. A shadow of a celestial wolf rushed out from his body and roared at the approaching Zhao Gang. This old man of the Celestial Wolf clan was also a great saint. Moreover, he was also at the peak of the great saint realm. At this moment, the wolf headstaff in his hand emitted a frightening fluctuation. Celestial wolf staff. Zhao Gang said in surprise. The wolf headstaff in the old man's hand had a powerful origin. It was the treasure of the Celestial Wolf clan and had great power. You know your stuff, the old man said with a sneer. Boom. The old man shook the Celestial Wolf staff in his hand. Countless runes immediately emerged from the Celestial Wolf staff. A shadow of a Celestial Wolf rushed out of the Celestial Wolf staff and pounced towards Zhao Gang fiercely. Buzz. Zhao Gang waved his hands, and a layer of light shield emerged in the void. Bam! The shadow of a Celestial Wolf that rushed out of the Celestial Wolf staff, the treasure of the Celestial Wolf clan, directly collided with the layer of light shield, and the light shield collapsed. Zhao Gang felt as if he had been hit by an ancient divine mountain. He flew backward involuntarily and spat out a mouthful of blood. The power of the Celestial Wolf staff was beyond everyone's imagination. With just one blow, Zhao Gang was injured. One should know that Zhao Gang was at the peak of the Great Saint realm. The people of the Zhao family of the Snow region all changed their expressions. However, there was a burst of cheers in the Celestial Wolf city. You want to destroy my Celestial Wolf clan? I'm afraid your Zhao family can't afford such a price. The old man of the Celestial Wolf clan said coldly. Really? A sneer came from the sky, and a powerful figure appeared high in the sky. Zhao Mu? The face of the old man of the Celestial Wolf clan became serious. Lang Xian, Zhao Mu walked over and stared at the old man of the Celestial Wolf clan. The old man of the Celestial Wolf clan was called Lang Xian. He was the Great Elder of the Celestial Wolf clan. This was a battle between the Great Elder and the Great Elder. Zhao Mu, you have to think carefully. Even if your Zhao family can destroy my Celestial Wolf clan, the price you have to pay is unbearable. The Great Elder of the Celestial Wolf clan, Lang Xian, said in a deep voice. Don't be an alarmist. Zhao Mu said with a sneer. There was a price to pay to destroy the Celestial Wolf clan, but the price could be controlled within the Zhao family's tolerance. Kill. Chapter 2754. Just as the Celestial Wolf race was in danger of being exterminated, Ji Yufei entered a mysterious and unknown region. It was a quiet world. The mysterious region was really mysterious. Everything he saw was snow-white. Moreover, there was no sound in the mysterious region. It seemed very stifling. Along the way, Ji Yufei saw nothing but ice and snow. Moreover, the temperature here was even lower. Not to mention ordinary people, even ordinary cultivators would not be able to withstand the invasion of this cold air. This was a region that had been frozen for countless years. This is, when Ji Yufei entered this region, he found a ruin in a valley. It was an ancient ruin covered in ice and snow. Only a few stone pillars protruded from the ice and snow. The stone pillars were carved with ancient runes. Other than the ancient runes, the stone pillars were also carved with ancient totems. Ji Yufei carefully examined them and was shocked to find that the ancient totems on the stone pillars were actually dragons and phoenixes. Looks like in the distant past, this place was not an uninhabited region. Ji Yufei stood in the sky above the valley. This ruin was buried under the ice and snow. It was not easy to find out which era this ruin was from. Moreover, Ji Yufei did not have the time to explore this ruin. Ji Yufei did not hesitate and immediately left the valley. He did not sense any aura in the valley. There did not seem to be any treasures under the ruins. Of course, even if there were treasures in this kind of ruin, it would be difficult to sense them. Ji Yufei directly headed towards the depths of this uninhabited region. He was not in a hurry. Along the way, he released his spiritual will. He was looking for people, so he could not go too fast in case he missed some places. However, Ji Yufei was shocked to find that his spiritual will was suppressed by some kind of power. It could only cover an area of about 10,000 miles. This shocked him. One had to know that his spirit sense was extremely powerful, many times more powerful than the spirit sense of an ordinary Saint Venerable. If even his spirit sense was suppressed to such an extent, then wouldn't the spirit sense of other people be directly suppressed within their bodies and unable to be released? This was not good. Ji Yufei was a little worried because Zhao Ziru's cultivation was definitely not on par with his. Even his spiritual will was suppressed to such an extent, let alone Zhao Ziru. Left with no choice, Ji Yufei continued forward. Just as Ji Yufei continued to move forward in the mysterious region, a major event was happening in the northern snow region. The news that the Zhao family of the snow region had made a move and wanted to destroy the Celestial Wolf clan had already spread far and wide. No one had expected the Zhao family to react so strongly. Everyone knew that the Celestial Wolf clan was not weak, and they used to be allies of the Zhao clan in the Shuiyu region. However, the close allies had now become mortal enemies. That was how things were in the world, especially in the world of cultivation where the strong preyed on the weak. The law of survival in the world of cultivation was even crueler. All the cultivation forces only cared about their own interests. Everyone swept the snow in front of their own door and did not care about the frost on the roof of their own house. Sometimes, they even hit someone when they were down. Just like when the Zhao family attacked the Celestial Wolf clan, the Golden Rock clan did not do anything. The world of cultivation was that realistic. The Golden Rock clan had allied with the Celestial Wolf clan not long ago. Now that their ally was in danger, no one from the Golden Rock clan stepped forward. At that moment, the Zhao family's great elder, Zhao Mu, displayed extremely powerful combat ability and started fighting against the great elder of the Celestial Wolf clan, Lang Xian. Zhao Mu's body flashed with golden light. He wore a set of golden armor, and an extremely powerful aura of the divine path emanated from the golden armor. Streaks of golden runes appeared on the golden armor, forming a layer of golden light that covered Zhao Mu's entire body. It made him look like a peerless metal man that had been cast from pure gold. The armor was extraordinary. It was a powerful secret treasure of the divine path that could fight against the Celestial Wolf staff. Roar! The heavens and earth shook. The shadow of a wolf kept appearing on the Celestial Wolf staff, giving off an extremely terrifying and ferocious aura. It kept biting at Zhao Mu. Zhao Mu waved his hands and clashed with the wolf shadow, causing earth-shattering sounds. The heavenly law armor of the Zhao family of the snowy region. Lang Xian, the great elder of the Celestial Wolf clan, was extremely shocked. His opponent had also used such a treasure. It seemed that the Celestial Wolf clan was in deep trouble this time. Boom! At that moment, a dull sound came from the Celestial Wolf city. A violent and ferocious energy rippled out from the Celestial Wolf city. An ancient altar in the Celestial Wolf city gave off a violent aura. At that moment, the ancient altar that had been sealed for countless years was opened again. Countless members of the Celestial Wolf clan stood around the ancient altar. Wolf shadows appeared on the bodies of every member of the Celestial Wolf clan. Powerful essence was constantly being guided by the altar. The ancient altar was stained with blood. It was the blood of a saint. A saint of the Celestial Wolf clan had sprinkled his own blood as a sacrifice to his ancestor. The endless power of the Celestial Wolf gathered at the ancient altar. The sky above the ancient altar changed color, and the sun and moon dimmed. Ancient Tao patterns appeared on the ancient altar, shining with dazzling light. The ancient altar seemed to be summoning Yuan Jiyu. A faint and illusory figure appeared on the ancient altar. It was the shadow of a terrifying wolf. The wolf shadow gave off a terrifying aura that could suppress 3,000 worlds. It caused the white-browed Saint King, Zhao Mu, and the others who were fighting to stop. What's going on? Zhao Mu was extremely shocked. The figure that appeared in the Celestial Wolf city was too powerful and terrifying. It was as if it could walk out from the void at any time and reveal its true body to the world. Could it be? Zhao Mu seemed to have thought of something. His expression changed immediately. How is this possible? Far in the sky, a powerful figure muttered to himself. Ha, you want to destroy the Celestial Wolf clan? I'll make sure that none of you return alive. A loud laugh came from the Celestial Wolf city. Then, a Celestial Wolf patriarch finally appeared. He walked up the ancient altar step by step. Boom! The Celestial Wolf patriarch fused with the wolf shadow on the ancient altar. An even more powerful and terrifying aura erupted from the ancient altar. Retreat! Zhao Mu's heart skipped a beat. He immediately ordered the cultivators from the Zhao clan to retreat. However, At this moment, a huge wolf claw reached out from the celestial wolf city and grabbed the white-browed Saint King. What? The white-browed Saint King was scared out of his wits. He howled and tried to break free from the wolf's claw. However, no matter how hard he struggled or how hard he tried, he could not escape. "You're the most annoying. I'll kill you first." The celestial wolf patriarch's voice rang out from the celestial wolf city. "No." The white-browed Saint King howled in terror. Phut. Chapter 2755. After the ancestor of the heavenly wolf clan merged with the figure on the ancient altar, he became extremely powerful. He directly displayed his strongest battle strength and killed the white-browed Saint King with one grab. Of course, the white-browed Saint King was only a Saint King. Even if the ancestor of the heavenly wolf clan didn't merge with the figure on the ancient altar, he could still easily kill him. Seeing the white-browed Saint King being killed by the ancestor of the heavenly wolf clan, Zhao Mu and the others were extremely shocked. The white-browed Saint King was a Saint King from the Zhao clan of Shui Yu. A powerful Saint King died just like that. To the Zhao clan of Shui Yu, this was definitely a great loss. After all, the death of a Saint King meant one less Saint King. Since you dare to attack the heavenly wolf clan, you should be prepared to die. In the heavenly wolf city, on the ancient altar, the ancestor of the heavenly wolf clan's voice was extremely cold. A chilling murderous intent spread from his body. Rumble. The earth and the sky were shaking. The ancient altar was also shaking. The ancient altar had gathered the power of countless clansmen of the heavenly wolf clan. This power was unbelievably strong. At this moment, the ancestor of the heavenly wolf clan controlled this power. This was definitely not a good thing for the Zhao clan of Shui Yu. "Quick, ask the ancestor for help," Zhao Mu shouted anxiously. At this moment, the ancestor of the heavenly wolf clan's battle strength had already surpassed his limit. It was extremely close to the battle strength of a quasi-supreme being. I didn't expect the heavenly wolf clan to have such a trump card. On a snowy peak 100 miles away from the heavenly wolf city stood a tall elder. This elder was the ancestor of the Golden Rock clan. This time, the young man from the Golden Rock clan wasn't with the Golden Rock clan. The ancestor of the Golden Rock clan had obtained the Golden Sun divine fruit and naturally gave it to the young man. The young man must have gone into seclusion to use the Golden Sun divine fruit to break through. Rumble. At this moment, the ancient sacrificial altar trembled unceasingly and rose from the ground. The heavenly wolf ancestor was like a peerless wolf emperor. After fusing with the figure on the ancient sacrificial altar, the heavenly wolf ancestor's cultivation base finally broke through to the limit that he could reach. Kill. The great elder of the Zhao clan, Zhao Mu, directly swooped down from the sky and dashed towards the ancient sacrificial altar that was rising from the ground. It was as if a golden sun was falling from the sky. Reckless. On the altar, the corners of the heavenly wolf ancestor's lips curled into a disdainful smirk. Then, he threw out a punch, causing a powerful force to erupt from his fist. Boom. With a loud bang, old ancestor heavenly wolf's fist and Zhao Mu's fist collided fiercely. A wave of destruction spread out. Catcher. The sound of bones breaking rang out. The Zhao clan's great elder screamed and quickly retreated. Drops of blood sprinkled down from the sky. With just one punch, the great elder of the Zhao clan was sent flying by the great elder of the Skywolf clan. If the great elder had not been wearing the sky blade armor, which reduced the power of Xiao Chen's punch by more than half, the consequences would have been unimaginable. Even so, Zhao Mu still suffered a great shock. Roar. At this moment, a furious roar resounded from afar, and a supreme fluctuation of energy swept over. Even saint-rank beings felt their hearts palpitate. The old ancestor is here. When the Zhao family's experts heard that roar, they couldn't help rejoicing. Even if a supreme being were to come, he wouldn't be able to save you all. The great elder of the Skywolf ancestor drove the ancient altar and rushed out of the Skywolf city. 9 beams of divine light shot out from the ancient altar and pierced through the Zhao family's experts in the sky. No. An expert of the Zhao family only had time to let out a scream before he was blasted into a cloud of blood mist by the piercing divine light. His body and soul were destroyed in an instant. The great elder Jiao Mu was sent flying again. He was wearing the heavenly law armor, so he escaped the disaster and was not killed by the divine light. However, the others were not so lucky. Even Zhao Gang, a peak great saint, was swept by the divine light that pierced through the ancient altar and died in an instant. A peak great saint ended up with his body and soul destroyed in the end. This was a massacre. 6 saint-level experts of the Zhao family of the Snow region were killed in an instant. Everyone who witnessed the scene was stunned. The Sky Wolf clan's means were too incredible. The great elder of the Sky Wolf clan killed 6 saint-level experts at the same time. Those were saint-level experts, not ordinary creatures. They died just like that. The great elder Jiao Mu and the Zhao family head Zhao Yuntian, who survived, almost vomited blood. 6 saint-level experts died just like that. The price was too high, plus the white-browed Saint King who was killed by the great elder of the Skywolf clan. The Zhao family of the Snow region lost 7 saint-level experts. This result made all the experts who were watching the battle from afar tremble. No one thought that the great elder of the Skywolf clan would be so powerful. 7 saint-level experts. Zhao Yuntian, the Zhao family head, felt his heart bleeding when he thought of the death of the 7 experts. With the death of the 7 saint-level experts, the Zhao family was greatly weakened. Skywolf, I'm going to kill you. An extremely violent aura came from afar. A figure, like a demon crawling out of hell, pounced at the great elder of the Skywolf clan fiercely. The death of the 7 saint-level experts almost drove the newcomer crazy. Boom! A huge hand slapped down from the sky, trying to kill the great elder of the Skywolf clan on the ancient altar. The great elder of the Skywolf clan was not afraid of the newcomer. He stretched out his right hand and slapped upwards. A huge wolf claw appeared in the void. Bang! The huge hand that came down from the sky clashed with the wolf claw that came from the altar. A powerful airwave swept out in all directions. Sand and pebbles were sent flying and the sun and moon were dimmed. On the ancient altar, the great elder of the Skywolf clan was extremely shocked. The newcomer was able to fight against him and was not at a disadvantage. The newcomer's strength and cultivation made the great elder of the Skywolf clan feel great pressure. This person was the #1 expert of the Zhao family, Madman Zhao, the cultivation maniac of the Zhao family. A powerful airwave swept out in all directions. Sand and pebbles were sent flying and the sun and moon were dimmed. On the ancient altar, the great elder of the Skywolf clan was extremely shocked. The newcomer was able to fight against him and was not at a disadvantage. The newcomer's strength and cultivation made the great elder of the Skywolf clan feel great pressure. This person was the #1 expert of the Zhao clan, Madman Zhao, the cultivation madman of the Zhao clan. On the ancient sacrificial altar, old ancestor Tian Lang was incomparably shocked. The person who had just arrived was actually able to fight head-on with his current strength and was not in a disadvantageous position. The strength of this person was so high that he felt a great pressure. Chapter 2756. Madman Zhao was here. He was a cultivation maniac. He would do anything to increase his cultivation. This madman had once destroyed a great sect in the northern Shui region just to obtain a divine medicine. This time, this madman had gained a lot of benefits in the forbidden land of Shui region. At the same time, he had also killed many people. He had almost become the public enemy of the forbidden land. Roar! Madman Zhao raised his head and roared. His long hair was fluttering in the wind. An overbearing and ferocious aura erupted from his body, shaking the entire heaven and earth. Humph! A cold snort could be heard. Old ancestor Tian Lang stood on the ancient altar and looked coldly at the strongest expert of the Zhao clan of the Shui region. A silhouette of a heavenly wolf appeared on old ancestor Tian Lang's body. There was also a ferocious aura coming from his body. This aura was not weaker than Madman Zhao's. During the battle with Ji Yufei, old ancestor Tian Lang didn't have time to use the trump card of the Heavenly Wolf clan before he was suppressed by Ji Yufei. If old ancestor Tian Lang had the time to use the ancient altar, it would be hard to say who would win. Old ancestor, Bai Mai and the others are all dead. Zhao Mu said to Madman Zhao. He was on the verge of tears. This time, the Zhao clan had suffered a great loss. They had lost 7 saints. Trash. A bunch of trash. So what if they are dead? Madman Zhao roared. This is the price you have to pay for destroying my Heavenly Wolf clan. On the ancient sacrificial altar, Heavenly Wolf Patriarch sneered. Price? Haha, Madman Zhao laughed. This guy dared to talk about the price in front of him. He never considered the price when he did things. He would do whatever he wanted. Even the Zhao clan Lord Zhao Yuntian couldn't control him. Madman Zhao had a special status in the Zhao clan of the Shui region. I'll kill you first, then I'll destroy the Heavenly Wolf clan. Madman Zhao stared at old ancestor Tian Lang on the ancient altar. He licked his lips and grinned. I should be the one saying that. Haha. Ancestor Heavenly Wolf laughed out of extreme anger. With the ancient sacrificial altar under his feet, with the support of the altar, even if he encountered Ji Yu Fei that day, he would still have the strength to fight, let alone this madman. You think you're invincible just because you have a broken altar? After saying that, Madman Zhao strode through the void, taking one step at a time towards Patriarch Skywolf. Every step he took would cause the entire void to tremble. It was as though space itself was about to be shattered by his steps. Clang! A sound of metal colliding resounded. 9 divine chains rushed out from the ancient altar beneath old ancestor Heavenly Wolf's feet, entangling Madman Zhao. Each of the divine chains was shrouded in runes, and the power of the great Tao spread out. Buzz! Madman Zhao raised his right hand and an iron sword appeared in his hand. This was an iron sword that was covered in rust. It was severely corroded by the rust and seemed as if it would break at any moment. Clang! Madman Zhao held the iron sword in his hand and slashed at one of the god chains in the middle. He actually split the god chain into 2. What? When old ancestor Heavenly Wolf saw this, he couldn't help but be taken aback. The iron sword in his opponent's hand actually had such power that it could sever the god chains of law. At this moment, Madman Zhao brandished the iron sword in his hand and severed the other 8 god chains of law that were entangling him. The 9 god chains then dissipated into the void. Kill! Madman Zhao directly charged up the ancient altar with his sword and engaged in a fierce battle with old ancestor Heavenly Wolf. You're really crazy. Old ancestor Heavenly Wolf roared in anger. An extremely powerful force burst out from his body. Both of his hands danced, clashing against Madman Zhao's iron sword with his flesh and blood. At this time, the ancient altar beneath his feet had already become one with old ancestor Heavenly Wolf. He could freely draw the power of the ancient altar for his own use. Since you've come up, there's no need for you to go down. Old ancestor Heavenly Wolf sneered. At the same time, a layer of light rushed out from the ancient altar, shrouding it. Haha, you want to kill me? Do you have the qualifications to do so? Madman Zhao was still crazy. He held the iron sword in his hand and displayed his powerful combat strength. The iron sword in his hand collided with old ancestor Heavenly Wolf's hands over 1,000 times in an instant. Die! Old ancestor Heavenly Wolf activated the power of the ancient altar and sealed a part of the void. He wanted to kill Madman Zhao on the altar. On the layer of divine light that shrouded the entire ancient altar, divine patterns of the Great Path were faintly discernible, emitting the supreme power of the Great Path. A destructive force surged out from the ancient sacrificial altar and rushed towards Madman Zhao. Humph! Madman Zhao sneered. He directly used the iron sword in his hand to break the layer of divine light that shrouded the ancient altar, and then calmly rushed out. This old ancestor Heavenly Wolf was taken aback when he saw this. He realized that he had underestimated this madman from the Zhao clan. This guy was far more powerful and terrifying than the rumors said. I've already said that you're not qualified to kill me. Madman Zhao laughed crazily. That iron sword, on the ancient altar, old ancestor Heavenly Wolf was incomparably shocked. The iron sword in Madman Zhao's hand seemed to be seriously corroded by the rust, and no sword light could be seen. However, it still possessed unimaginable power. At this time, Madman Zhao was also secretly rejoicing. If it wasn't for this trip to the Forbidden Zone, where he obtained this iron sword from a relic, he would really be out of luck. Kill! Old Ancestor Heavenly Wolf directly drove the ancient sacrificial altar to attack lunatic Zhao. As soon as the ancient sacrificial altar moved, the entire heaven and earth seemed as though it was going to collapse. In the void, a series of pitch-black spatial cracks appeared. The power of the ancient altar erupted like a terrifying ancient divine mountain moving. The destructive force was vast and mighty, capable of obliterating and killing everything. Even someone as crazy as Madman Zhao couldn't help but be moved at this moment. The opponent's ancient altar was not ordinary, and it had gathered the power of countless clansmen of the Heavenly Wolf clan. This power was so powerful that it could even kill a Saint Venerable. One should know that at this moment, the power of Old Ancestor Heavenly Wolf was infinitely close to that of a quasi-supreme. Madman Zhao directly retreated. Haha, Madman Zhao, what's wrong? Are you not crazy anymore? Are you going to run? Old Ancestor Heavenly Wolf laughed loudly and chased after him. At this moment, the great elder of the Zhao clan, Zhao Mu, and the clan leader of the Zhao clan, Zhao Yuntian, had already retreated. They could no longer interfere in a battle of this level. They had never thought that the attack on the Heavenly Wolf clan would develop to this stage. The Zhao clan had actually lost 7 saints in one go. 7 saints. The saints of the Zhao clan of Shui Yu were almost completely annihilated. Only the great elder Zhao Mu and the clan leader Zhao Yuntian survived. After this battle, the Zhao clan of Shui Yu might no longer have the strength to dominate the Shui Yu. The Zhao clan has kicked an iron plate this time. Old Ancestor Golden Rock, who was watching the battle from afar, revealed a rare smile. The Zhao clan and the Heavenly Wolf clan had both suffered heavy losses, and the Golden Rock clan would be able to take over. Dominating the Shui Yu had always been the dream of the Golden Rock clan. However, the Heavenly Palace of Shui Yu and the Zhao clan of Shui Yu had suppressed the Golden Rock clan, making it impossible for the Golden Rock clan to stand out. Now, the Zhao clan had lost 7 saints in one go. Even if the Zhao clan had Madman Zhao, they would no longer be a threat. The Golden Rock clan finally had the chance to stand out. Just as the Old Ancestor Heavenly Wolf and Madman Zhao were fighting, Ji Yufei encountered a mysterious creature in a mysterious unknown area and fought with it. Rumble, in the depths of an unknown region, an incomparably shocking voice rang out. A figure and a mysterious creature were engaged in a fierce battle. Terrifying energy ripples spread out, shattering the snowy peaks one after another. Wherever the two figures passed by, everything was destroyed. This is Chapter 2757. Ji Yufei entered an unknown region in the far north and encountered a mysterious creature. This mysterious creature was extremely powerful and was able to fight him endlessly. It was a humanoid creature covered in fine silver scales. Of course, this creature was not human and it was extremely ferocious. Bang! Ji Yufei and the mysterious creature clashed head-on. The space between the two of them immediately collapsed. The chaotic energy that surged out from the shattered space instantly swallowed Ji Yufei and the mysterious creature. This shocked Ji Yufei. Swoosh! Within the chaos, the mysterious creature's right hand grabbed towards Ji Yufei. The power that surged out from the creature's hand immediately sealed the space where Ji Yufei was. Ji Yufei's martial body shook and the power of a holy venerable erupted. He broke through the power of the mysterious creature's right hand that could seal the space. His figure instantly appeared in front of the mysterious creature and he threw a punch. The powerful force caused the space in front of his fist to tremble. The mysterious creature's reaction was not slow either. It reached out with a sharp claw and grabbed Ji Yufei's fist. It then exerted force, trying to break Ji Yufei's arm. However, Ji Yufei's holy venerate martial constitution was just as powerful. His arm was not torn off by the mysterious creature. Instead, his right arm jerked and a powerful force erupted from his fist, causing the mysterious creature to be pushed back. Slash! In Ji Yufei's hand, a dazzling sword light immediately rushed out from his hand and slashed towards the mysterious creature. The sword light was like a rainbow, cutting through the space between heaven and earth. This was the sword will of the 9 heaven punishing swords. With a sword in hand, one would be invincible and could kill all enemies in the world. This was Ji Yufei's close-range attack. Even though the mysterious creature was extremely powerful, it could not avoid it. It had no choice but to take Jiu Fei's sword light head-on. Roar! The mysterious creature roared furiously, and a silver orb flew out of its mouth, smashing towards the incoming light. The silver bead shone with endless silver light. It was as if a silver sun had appeared in the world, displaying great power. Boom! With a muffled sound, the silver divine bead was sent flying by Jiu Fei's sword light. However, Jiu Fei's sword light also dissipated in the void. It was blocked by the divine bead. Niden. Jiu Fei extended his hand and grabbed the silver pearl. He wanted to take it away. The orb could actually block the sky-piercing sword light, so it was probably the inner core of the mysterious being. It must have attached great importance to the orb. But at that moment, the mysterious creature had already swallowed the silver divine bead in one gulp. After the mysterious creature swallowed the divine bead, its body emitted a layer of silver divine light. It was like a silver flame that was dancing. An extremely powerful aura burst out from the mysterious creature's body. Human, prepare to die. A voice rang out in Jiu Fei's mind. Show me what you've got. Daddy here isn't afraid of you. Jiu Fei said in disdain. Boom. The void trembled as the silver divine light on the mysterious creature's body swept out towards Jiu Fei. That silver divine light was actually a god flame. This god flame was extremely powerful. It was definitely not any weaker than the heaven-burning demon fire of the demons. Heaven-covering palm. Jiu Fei did not hesitate. A gigantic chaotic palm appeared high up in the sky, covering the entire heaven and earth. The gigantic palm pressed down like an ancient mountain was descending. The power displayed by the gigantic chaotic palm was incomparably terrifying. The mysterious creature's face changed instantly as it tried to break out of the seal of the gigantic chaotic palm. Under the might of Jiu Fei's chaotic palm, the silver divine flame dissipated. Bang! Without any suspense, the mysterious creature was smashed down from the sky by Jiu Fei's chaotic palm, smashing into a snowy peak below. Rocks flew everywhere and dust flew up into the sky. It was a chaotic scene. The mysterious creature roared as it charged up from the ground. The creature's entire body shone with a resplendent silver light, causing the entire world to be bathed in silver light. The heaven and earth shook. The might that was being emitted from the mysterious creature was unprecedentedly strong. It was as though the entire heaven and earth could not contain its powerful body. This is the end. Jiu Fei's voice was calm. He was actually still holding back and did not go all out. The reason why he had been fighting with this mysterious creature till now was because he wanted to see what was so special about this creature. Even though the mysterious creature was strong, it was no different from the living beings of the outside world. It would bleed and die if it were to be heavily injured. The cultivation method of this mysterious living being was not any special cultivation method. The mysterious living being had taken the path of cultivating the Niden. This was similar to the cultivation method of the wild beasts in the outside world. Wild beasts also cultivated Nidens and walked the path of the most powerful beast venerable. They would not take human form. Vroom. Jiu Fei separated his hands and 9 rays of light immediately condensed around him. An astonishing sword chi spread from his body. Kill. With a shout from Jiu Fei, the 9 rays of light around him immediately flew up and pierced towards the mysterious creature. At that moment, the mysterious creature became vicious as well. It spat out the silver orb again. The energy ripples from the orb were extremely powerful, and it directly smashed towards the 9 streaks of light that pierced through the air. The 9 rays of light displayed the power to punish the heavens. They actually sent the dazzling divine orb flying. The 9 rays of light instantly pierced through the mysterious creature's body. One of the rays of light directly pierced the creature's forehead. There was a flash of blood, and the extremely powerful mysterious creature died just like that. It was killed by the 9 swords of punishing heaven. Even its soul couldn't escape in time. The silver corpse fell from the sky, but the silver Niden shot into the sky in an attempt to escape. A figure vaguely appeared above the silver Niden. Trying to escape. Jiu Fei used the star-plucking hand and grabbed the silver Niden from the sky. Are you trying to kill me? The silver Niden emitted a violent pulse of spirit. The pulse was filled with extreme fear. You have a problem with that. Jiu Fei smiled. This creature was really interesting. If you dare kill me, our king won't let you go. The pulse of spirit continued and a voice rang out in Jiu Fei's mind. So there's a big guy behind your king. Chapter 2758. The mysterious creature was from a race that had never been discovered before. This race was called the Silver Clan. Behind the mysterious creature, there was a king. If the mysterious creature was already so powerful, then wouldn't the king behind it be even more powerful and terrifying? Jiu Fei didn't hesitate. He directly erased the strand of soul attached to the divine bead. Only now did the mysterious creature truly die. Damn it. Jiu Fei suddenly thought of something. This unknown region in the far north didn't seem to be without a master. The Silver Clan lived in this region. Such a race was extremely powerful. If Zhao Ziru also encountered such a local creature, she would probably be in trouble. Thinking of this, Jiu Fei put away the silver divine bead and continued to move forward, hoping that Zhao Ziru hadn't encountered the cultivators of the Silver Clan yet. Just as Jiu Fei continued to go deeper into the unknown region, outside the Celestial Wolf City, the great ancestor of the Celestial Wolf and Madman Zhao were fighting endlessly. Huge holes were constantly created in the void, and chaotic aura was overflowing from the holes in the space. It was frightening. The great ancestor of the Celestial Wolf stepped on the ancient altar and was extremely powerful. Rays of divine light constantly rushed out from the ancient altar and pierced towards Madman Zhao. Madman Zhao waved the rusty iron sword in his hand and blocked all the piercing divine light. Preposterous! Madman Zhao roared and roared. This great ancestor of the Celestial Wolf was too evil. If it wasn't for the ancient altar under his feet, he wouldn't know how many times he would have died. Even someone as strong as the great ancestor of the Celestial Wolf was no match for Madman Zhao. The great ancestor of the Celestial Wolf knew his own limits. But now, the great ancestor of the Celestial Wolf had drawn the power of the ancient altar to his body. It was so powerful that even Madman Zhao's expression changed. Rumble! Madman Zhao's body erupted with a powerful wave of energy. 9 great Dao talismans turned into peerless sword light. They rushed out from Madman Zhao's body and pierced towards the great ancestor of the Celestial Wolf who was standing on the ancient altar. This was the sword light of the great Dao. It contained a powerful force of the great Dao. As long as one was hit by this sword light, the consequences would be unimaginable. Break! On the ancient altar, Heavenly Wolf Great Ancestor let out a furious roar. 9 divine chains rushed out from the ancient altar and clashed with the 9 sword lights. These 9 divine chains were also formed by the laws of the great Tao. Rumble, the world shook, and the 9 beams of sword light and the 9 divine chains shattered at the same time, dissipating into the void. Roar! Old ancestor Heavenly Wolf executed his Heavenly Wolf howl. A terrifying sound wave of destruction spread out. Madman Zhao bore the brunt of it and was sent flying by the power of the Heavenly Wolf howl. Madman Zhao was sent flying 1,000 miles away by the Heavenly Wolf old ancestor's Heavenly Wolf howl, coughing up blood. What a terrifying Heavenly Wolf howl. Everyone watching the battle from afar couldn't help but be shocked when they witnessed this scene. Even Ancestor Golden Rock's expression changed when he saw this. Even the Zhao family had suffered a great loss when the Heavenly Wolf clan went all out. Golden Rock Patriarch had never imagined that things would develop to this point. The Zhao family wanted to annihilate the Heavenly Wolf clan. This was an earth-shattering event. All the sects and clans in the Shuiyu region were alarmed. Countless powerful beings came to watch the battle. Countless living beings rushed over from all directions. Die! Madman Zhao went berserk. His eyes turned red as if he had turned into a demon. His chi sword and a terrifying aura swept out. This, on top of the ancient altar, Heavenly Wolf Ancestor sensed the changes in Madman Zhao's body and was shocked to the extreme. This Madman Zhao was still holding back. How was this possible? Ancestor Heavenly Wolf couldn't believe it, but it was the truth. Madman Zhao's battle strength soared once again. No one dared to approach Madman Zhao, who was in a berserk state. Madman Zhao turned into a beam of sword light that soared into the sky and attacked Ancestor Heavenly Wolf. Even the ancient altar under Ancestor Heavenly Wolf's feet was shaking. Could it be that you've taken that step? Ancestor Heavenly Wolf shouted from the ancient altar. He could see that Madman Zhao's cultivation and strength were very strong. It seemed like Madman Zhao had taken that step. Of course, this was just Ancestor Heavenly Wolf's guess. Boom. At this moment, Madman Zhao's fist slammed onto the bottom of the ancient altar, causing it to fly upwards. On the ancient altar, Heavenly Wolf Patriarch was nearly knocked down from the arena by Lunatic Zhao's punch. You deserve to die. Ancestor Heavenly Wolf gritted his teeth. He actually fused the ancient altar into his body and charged at Madman Zhao. Boom. Bam. Two figures moved rapidly in the sky, like two innate gods fighting. Terrifying auras spread out, causing the hearts of the spectators to palpitate. Both of them had used their trump cards. Powerful energy waves shattered the heaven and earth. It was a terrifying scene of destruction. Even the chaotic chi was blasted out. Bam! A figure was flung away. Is the outcome finally going to be decided? Seeing this scene, the spectators from afar were shocked. The figure that was flung away was shrouded in Dao light. It was Madman Zhao. Go! Madman Zhao directly tore open the void and charged in. He had actually escaped. What? Everyone was extremely shocked because Madman Zhao had actually fled, and this was something that had never happened before. After all, the reason Madman Zhao was called a madman was because of his ruthlessness that disregarded his own life during the battle. At this moment, everyone realized that the Zhao clan's patriarch and the Zhao clan's grand elder had left a long time ago. Rumble. Ancestor Heavenly Wolf strode forward. He wanted to stop Madman Zhao, but he was a step too late. There was a sword wound on his chest that was rapidly healing. That iron sword is strange. Ancestor Heavenly Wolf's eyes turned deep. He really wanted to kill his way to the Zhao clan, but he couldn't maintain his current state for long. The time he could fuse with the altar was very limited. One must know that it was borrowed power and not his own. It would dissipate sooner or later. As expected, not long after Ancestor Heavenly Wolf scared Madman Zhao away, the ancient altar that had fused with him rushed out from his body. The calamity of the Heavenly Wolf clan was resolved just like that. The Zhao clan wanted to annihilate the Heavenly Wolf clan as a show of strength to the other clans in the snow region, but they were killed by Ancestor Heavenly Wolf instead. The fall of the 7 saints of the Zhao clan meant that the Zhao clan could no longer be the overlord of the northern snow region. Now, in the entire northern snow region, only the Heavenly Wolf clan and the Golden Rock clan had the strength to fight for the position of overlord. Chapter 2759. The Heavenly Palace of Shui Yu was the most mysterious force in the northern Shui region. It was the undisputed overlord of the northern Shui region. Even Madman Zhao had suffered a great loss at the hands of the Heavenly Palace of Shui Yu in the past. He had almost died. If it wasn't for the fact that he wasn't fated to die, there wouldn't be the current Madman Zhao. There weren't many people that knew of this matter, but those that knew clearly knew why Madman Zhao would stop at nothing to increase his cultivation and battle strength. Even the Zhao family of the Shui region was like a little brother in front of the Heavenly Palace of Shui Yu. If the Heavenly Palace of Shui Yu didn't come out, the Zhao family would be able to dominate the Shui region. Once the people of the Heavenly Palace of Shui Yu came out, the overlord of the Shui region would be dragged down from the throne. The news of the appearance of the people of the Heavenly Palace of Shui Yu quickly spread throughout the Shui region. Everyone was shocked. The descendants of the Heavenly Palace, who hadn't come out for thousands of years, had finally come out. Why did the Heavenly Palace of Shui Yu want to come out? This was something everyone wanted to know. Only by knowing the reason would they be able to have a good relationship with the Heavenly Palace. No one would ignore the Heavenly Palace of Shui Yu, because it was the #1 force in the Shui region. No one had ever replaced it. Since ancient times, no force had been able to challenge the Heavenly Palace of Shui Yu's position as the overlord. While all the cultivators in the Shui region were shocked and curious about the appearance of the descendants of the Heavenly Palace, a white-robed young man was sitting in a restaurant in the ancestral city of the Zhao family. This white-robed young man had a handsome face, sword-like eyebrows, and a slender body. He was an extremely handsome man. The ancestral city of the Zhao family was being rebuilt. It had almost been destroyed in the battle, but this was still the ancestral land of the Zhao family, so the people of the Zhao family wouldn't leave. Of course, the Zhao clan had lost 7 saints in the battle with the Sky Wolf clan, and it had suffered great losses. The current Zhao clan was no longer the same as before. The head of the Zhao family didn't dare return to the ancestral city because he was afraid that the heavenly wolf ancestor would attack the city. However, Zhao Yuntian did not know that the ancient altar of the Sky Wolf clan could not be used at all times. Furthermore, it was difficult to bring the ancient altar out of the Sky Wolf city. Otherwise, heavenly wolf ancestor would have brought the ancient sacrificial altar to the Zhao family's ancestral city. The strength of the celestial wolf clan. After that battle, the people of the world had a new understanding of the power of this clan. At this moment, a figure flashed by the staircase. A middle-aged man walked up and sat opposite the white-robed youth. Why didn't Zhao Yuntian come? The white-clothed youth didn't even raise his head. He only looked at the white jade cup in his hand and spoke in a flat tone. The patriarch is busy, but if you have anything to say, you can tell me. The middle-aged man opposite the white-robed youth said. "Mph, what arrogance." The white-robed youth was clearly displeased. The middle-aged man's expression changed when he heard this. "Honorable envoy, it is indeed our fault for not going out to welcome you." At this moment, another figure flashed by at the stairway entrance. Another person walked up from below. This person was actually the Zhao family's great elder, Zhao Mu. "Greetings, Great Elder." When the middle-aged man saw that the person who came was Zhao Mu, he quickly stepped forward and saluted. "All right, you can leave now." Zhao Mu waved his hand and said, "Yes." The middle-aged man quickly retreated. "Zhao Mu, is that Zhao Yuntian dead? If that guy is still alive, ask him to get his ass in front of me." The white-robed youth said coldly. "I hope that honorable envoy can understand. The patriarch really has something to attend to and can't come in person." Zhao Mu said in a neither servile nor overbearing manner. "Mph, if I understand you, then who's going to understand me?" The white-robed youth said in disdain. When Zhao Mu heard this, he couldn't help but be startled. For a moment, he didn't know what to say. "All right, since the Zhao family wants to work with me, then forget it," the white-robed youth said and stood up, intending to leave. "Honorable envoy, please wait." Zhao Mu hurriedly came forward and stopped the white-robed young man. "I don't think there's a need for us to continue chatting." As the white-robed young man spoke, his silhouette immediately became blurry before disappearing into the void. It was as if he had never appeared in the first place. Seeing this, Zhao Mu couldn't help but be shocked. That guy actually did this. Luckily, the entire restaurant was booked by the Zhao family, so no one saw the white-robed youth disappear. Zhao Mu didn't expect this at all. He stood there blankly for a while before he came back to his senses and left. The envoy from the heavenly palace of Shui Yu didn't want to help the Zhao family at all. But now, the Zhao family needed the help of the Zhao family of Shui Yu. Only then could the Zhao family walk out of the abyss. The envoy from the heavenly palace of Shui Yu was walking in the Shui Yu. Soon, a white-robed youth arrived at the ancestral ground of the Golden Rock clan. The ancestor of the Golden Rock clan personally led his clansmen to welcome the envoy from the heavenly palace of Shui Yu into the ancestral ground of the Golden Rock clan. More than an hour later, the white-robed youth left. Then, the Golden Rock clan started to take action. They started to take over the territories of the Zhao family of Shui Yu in a high-profile manner. A war was inevitable. The Zhao family of Shui Yu would not give up their territory so easily. Because of this, a storm of blood started in the Shui Yu. Some people said that the Golden Rock clan had been promised by the heavenly palace of Shui Yu that they would become the rulers of the Shui Yu after the Zhao family. Because of this, the other forces of the Shui Yu didn't dare to resist the Golden Rock clan. They all declared their loyalty to the Golden Rock clan. However, some forces didn't agree. Especially the Celestial Wolf clan, who had defeated the Zhao family of Shui Yu. They believed that they were the ones who were qualified to become the new rulers of the Shui Yu. Inside the Shui Yu, A storm was brewing. A great change was brewing. One day, a white-robed youth arrived outside the celestial wolf city. This youth entered the city directly. However, in less than half an hour, he walked out of the city. "TMPH, you want me to submit to the Golden Rock Ancestor? Is that even possible?" In the main hall of the Celestial Wolf Clan, the ancestor of the Celestial Wolf Clan, who was sitting on a throne, sneered. "Who cares about the envoy from the heavenly palace of Shui Yu? I'm not your slave." The Celestial Wolf Clan was very confident. After all, as long as they had the ancient sacrificial altar, even the heavenly palace of Shui Yu couldn't ignore them. This was also the reason why the ancestor of the Celestial Wolf Clan dared to ignore the envoy. Chapter 2760. In the depths of that unknown, mysterious region, there was a giant city floating high up in the sky. This giant city had been floating in the void for God knows how long and had yet to fall from the sky. How is this possible? When Ji Yufei arrived here, he was truly shocked. A giant city that had been floating in the void for countless years. There was only one possibility as to why this giant city had not fallen, and that was that there was a force that prevented this ancient city from falling. This kind of giant city that could float in the void actually had a formation engraved within it. Relying on the power of this formation, this giant city could be suspended in the void. Could it be that the formation within this giant city was still operating? Without hesitation, Ji Yufei directly flew into the sky and landed on this giant city. He stood on the broken city tower and sized up this giant city. He discovered that this was a half-ruined giant city. Most of the buildings in the giant city had already collapsed, but there were some buildings that were different from the others, standing tall in the giant city for countless years. That is. Suddenly, Ji Yufei saw a skull being blown by the wind and rolled out of a street. The sound of the skull colliding with the ground broke the silence of the giant city. It was the skull of a human. Clearly, there had once been humans here. Perhaps this was a huge city left behind by the human race. Other than countless broken bricks and tiles in the giant city, Ji Yufei did not sense any strange aura in the city. Just as he was about to leave, he sensed an extremely weak life aura coming from the center of the city. What's going on? Ji Yufei was shocked. He took a step forward and instantly appeared in the depths of the giant city, arriving in the sky above the area where the life aura was coming from. Boom! Before Ji Yufei could react, the ground below suddenly exploded. A huge hand directly grabbed at Ji Yufei, who was in the sky. What? Ji Yufei was shocked. His figure instantly disappeared into the void. The huge hand grabbed at thin air and retracted. In the next moment, Ji Yufei's figure appeared hundreds of feet away. He saw dust flying in the air and a huge pit in the ground. The entire giant city was shaking. Rumble, cracks began to spread from the crater. There was a stone platform in the pit, and a skinny figure was sitting on it. It was an old man. To be exact, it was an old man who had been imprisoned for countless years. The clothes on the old man's body were almost completely rotten. He was as thin as a stick, like a skeleton wearing a layer of human skin. Ji Yufei was extremely shocked. He had never imagined that such a mysterious being would be imprisoned in such a huge city. He discovered that the old man's body was coiled with several chains, and those chains bound the old man to the stone platform. Roar! The old man roared into the sky, and the chains on his body clanged. In the next moment, the essence of heaven and earth in the world crazily gathered towards the old man. Ji Yufei did not stop him and allowed the old man to devour the world's essence. At this moment, all the heaven and earth essence in the entire mysterious region was being attracted by the old man. The old man was forcefully seizing the heaven and earth essence from the entire unknown region. Even in the outside world, some peerless cultivators sensed the astonishing changes happening in the unknown region. What is happening in that place? Someone muttered, but no one dared to enter the unknown region. Are those people going to escape? The emissary from the heavenly palace, who had been traveling between the clans and sects in the northern snowy region, was also alarmed. He seemed to know what was happening. The heavenly palace of snowy region was mysterious and had existed since ancient times. Naturally, it knew many secrets of the world that others did not. Rumble. At this moment, in the depths of the unknown region, the giant city floating in the sky was shaking. An endless amount of heaven and earth essence gathered from all directions and was being devoured by the old man. The old man's skinny body was undergoing astonishing changes. His chi and blood were becoming stronger and stronger. His flesh and blood were growing rapidly, and his entire skinny body was expanding. The old man's messy white hair was rapidly turning black. His entire body was gradually becoming younger, and his skinny body was becoming stronger. This old man was in the midst of transforming into his peak state. A strong middle-aged man stood up from the stone platform. His eyes emitted a sharp gaze as he looked at Ji Yufei, who was in the sky. "Haha, your father is quite lucky. I was just about to escape when such a prey came to me." A wave of divine will spread out from the middle-aged man. He saw Ji Yufei as his prey. "Who are you?" Ji Yufei looked at the middle-aged man chained to the stone platform and said indifferently, "Who I am is not important, because I am going to eat you." "Ha ha." The man laughed loudly, looking somewhat crazy. "Are you sure you want to eat me?" Ji Yufei was still very calm. "Little guy, it is your honor to be eaten by me. Be a good boy and let me eat you." The man said crazily, "You can come out first." Ji Yufei said with a hint of disdain on his face. That person soared into the sky, and the chains on his body clanked. Runes appeared on the chains, tightly binding that person to the stone platform. Roar. After the middle-aged man devoured the endless essence of heaven and earth, he became extremely strong. With a roar, the entire world shook as if it was about to collapse. Runes also appeared on his body, fighting against the runes on the chains. The two extremely strong forces clashed. It was extremely terrifying because this was a battle between two forces of the Great Path. Very soon, the runes on the chains were mostly destroyed by the Great Path power that erupted from the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man had the upper hand in terms of strength. The chains that were wrapped around his body started to be refined by him. The original runes on the chains were destroyed, and then the runes that rushed out from the middle-aged man's body were imprinted on them. The chains that were wrapped around the middle-aged man were not ordinary. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been imprisoned in the giant city for so many years. The middle-aged man wanted to refine the chains into his own weapons. Ji Yufei had been watching all this while. He had no intention of stopping him. He wanted to see what this middle-aged man was capable of. Rumble. The space shook and the chains that were wrapped around the middle-aged man were gradually refined. Then, they turned into a few black snakes that danced in the hands of the middle-aged man. Clang! The chains broke free from the stone platform. Then, the middle-aged man rushed into the sky, waved the chains in his hands, and rushed towards Ji Yufei. "Come on." When Ji Yufei saw the middle-aged man rushing towards him, his lips curled into a cold smile. Then, he rushed towards the middle-aged man. Chapter 2761. Ji Yufei was surprised that the mysterious man was able to refine the god chains that imprisoned him and escape. One should know that this mysterious man had been imprisoned in the huge city for countless years. If it was so easy to refine the god chains that imprisoned him, he would have escaped long ago. Why would he have waited until today? Ji Yufei did not know that this mysterious man had actually awakened from the seal for tens of thousands of years. Day and night, he had been thinking about how to escape and how to take revenge. After tens of thousands of years of hard work, he finally succeeded today. Roar! The mysterious person continued to roar towards the sky. The clouds in the horizon were dispersed and the huge city below was finally reduced to dust. Even the stone platform that had imprisoned the mysterious person for countless years was shattered. "I'm back. I will dye this world with blood. I will make this world tremble because of my return." "Ha," the mysterious man laughed crazily. "Oi, are you crazy?" At this moment, a voice suddenly rang out. "You little fella, come here quickly and let me eat you." The mysterious man turned around and stared at Ji Yufei ferociously. He revealed his white teeth and there seemed to be some kind of liquid flowing out from the corner of his mouth. "Are you a demon or a demon?" Ji Yufei could not figure out the background of this guy. This guy was too ferocious. However, there was no aura of demons or demons on him. There was only an extremely violent, murderous aura. What demon? What's wrong with this daddy? This daddy came from the outer world. I should have ruled this world, but I was plotted against. I hate it. The middle-aged man's eyes flashed with ferocity as he gritted his teeth. From the outer world. When Ji Yufei heard this, he was shocked. Could it be that there were powerful unknown living beings in the outer world? Was there a world like the heaven realm in the outer world that could give birth to powerful living beings? All sorts of questions popped up in Ji Yufei's mind. Come. It is your honor to be able to become a part of this daddy's power. The mysterious man opened his mouth and sucked at Ji Yufei. A heaven-devouring force immediately enveloped Ji Yufei and pulled him towards the mysterious man. What bullsh** T glory? Go eat shit. Ji Yufei waved his right hand and a dazzling sword light immediately rushed out from his hand, piercing the mysterious man's mouth. Wherever the sharp sword light passed, a pitch-black spatial crack was left in the void. However, a scene that shocked Ji Yufei occurred. The mysterious person actually swallowed the sword light that he shot out. Even the extremely powerful heaven-punishing sword light was swallowed. He couldn't help but be shocked. This, Ji Yufei could sense that the heaven-punishing sword light he had unleashed was rapidly dissipating within the mysterious man's body. The powerful power contained within the sword light was being devoured and absorbed by the mysterious man. Ha ha, again. The man laughed heartily. Rumble. The void trembled and even the void between heaven and earth shattered. Then, it was swallowed by the mysterious man in one gulp. The strength of this outsider had far exceeded Ji Yufei's expectations. Moreover, this guy's cultivation method was very strange. It seemed to be able to devour all the power in the world. Ji Yufei sneered and directly broke the devouring force that enveloped him. He then soared into the sky and performed the 8 steps 8 kills, stomping on the mysterious man's head. Boom! In the next moment, the entire void beneath Ji Yufei's feet collapsed. A terrifying destructive force gushed out from his feet, crushing everything. However, the mysterious man raised his head and sucked again. He actually swallowed the power of Ji Yufei's 8 kills steps. The extremely violent destructive force actually couldn't hurt this guy at all. When I was at my peak, I could swallow the heavens with one gulp. Little fella, you'd better be eaten by me and suffer less. The mysterious man's voice rang in Ji Yufei's heart. Ji Yufei's blood and qi were extremely vigorous. To this mysterious man, Ji Yufei was like a great medicine that could bring the dead back to life. Naturally, he wouldn't let go of Ji Yufei. Moreover, after swallowing Ji Yufei, this mysterious man would be able to recover most of his cultivation. At that time, he would be able to travel unhindered across the world and seek revenge on those who plotted against him back then. Haha, you want to swallow me? Aren't you afraid that your stomach will explode? Ji Yufei laughed. This guy really doesn't know what's good for him. It seems like I can make use of this point to directly kill this arrogant guy. My stomach can fill the heavens. It can't even fit a little fella like you. The mysterious man said arrogantly. I'll stand right here. Let's see if you can swallow me. The chaotic qi around Ji Yufei's body was vast and boundless. He was like a god of war that walked out from the chaos. He didn't attack again and just stood in the sky. A powerful saint venerable aura spread out from his body, causing the void to tremble. A wise man submits to circumstances. Little fella, I'm starting to like you a little. Chaotic qi, my favorite. The mysterious man laughed and swallowed Ji Yufei in a single gulp, displaying the true might of swallowing the heavens. This guy wasn't joking. He really had the ability to do so. This is, Ji Yufei, who was swallowed by the alien expert, found himself entering a strange void. This place was simply an incomparably huge primordial void. All sorts of primordial laws of the great Tao were boundless. Beams of heavenly order light pierced towards him, wanting to shatter him and fuse him into this void. No wonder this guy dares to say that he can swallow the heavens. It seems like his stomach is a world that's still in the process of being nurtured. Ji Yufei was truly shocked. He had never encountered such a thing before. At this moment, this undeveloped world was actually devouring his essence. He could feel his essence constantly flowing out of his body and fusing with the surrounding void. Buzz. With a thought from Jiyu Fei, 9 primal chaos Dao patterns surged out from his body and sealed his body, firmly sealing his essence chi so that it wouldn't leak out. In the outside world, the mysterious man had already sat down cross-legged and circulated his mystic art. He wanted to completely refine the little fella in his stomach and raise his cultivation. However, he was shocked to find that the little fella in his stomach was still resisting and struggling. He couldn't refine it in a short period of time. It seems like I have no choice but to use my true strength, the mysterious man muttered to himself. Then, he circulated his unique mystic art. At the same time, there was a huge change in the mysterious man's stomach. The power of the entire primordial void was being obliterated towards Jiyu Fei. Beams of primordial laws kept piercing towards Jiyu Fei. The layer of chaotic divine shield outside Jiyu Fei's body immediately dimmed. It actually showed signs of being obliterated. This. Chapter 2762. Yuan Gu's prisoner broke the seal and broke free. Jiyu Fei just happened to be there and was swallowed by the extraterrestrial expert. Rumble. The stomach of the extraterrestrial expert trembled. It was actually a primordial void, as if it was nurturing a world. This made Jiyu Fei extremely shocked. No wonder this guy dared to say that he could devour the heavens when he was at his peak. He wasn't lying. He really did have such an ability. At this moment, the boundless power of the laws of the way rushed towards Jiyu Fei, causing him great trouble. His divine shield actually dimmed, as if it could be destroyed at any time. Damn, I've underestimated this guy. Jiyu Fei muttered to himself. He wasn't in a hurry. If he was refined by this guy so easily, he wouldn't be Jiyu Fei. Boom. Jiyu Fei's martial body trembled gently and an even more powerful chaotic force erupted from his body. The chaotic divine aura around him that had almost been destroyed by the power of the laws of Wei lit up once again. It blocked all the terrifying power that came from all directions, making it difficult for it to approach him. What, in the outside world, the extraterrestrial expert who was sitting cross-legged in the sky was clearly shocked. He never thought that the human he had swallowed would be so tenacious and still be resisting. The alien thought for a moment, then closed his eyes. After that, the space between his eyebrows split open, and a beam of divine light shot out from between his eyebrows and entered his stomach. Within the beam of divine light was a figure. It was the origin soul of the extraterrestrial expert. The origin soul of the extraterrestrial expert entered his stomach and a figure appeared before Jiyu Fei. This person was clad in black armor and held a halberd in his hand. He wore a crown that reached into the sky and a pair of firecloud boots on his feet. He radiated with a soaring murderous aura. Ayo, how did you get in here? Could it be that you ate yourself as well? Jiyu Fei couldn't help but be stunned when he saw the person before him. He then smiled gently. Mitch, you can still smile even at a time like this. The figure conjured by the essence soul of the expert from the other realm said coldly. You want to refine me with a mere primordial spirit. Don't you think you're overestimating yourself a little? Jiyu Fei said sarcastically. Cut the crap. Kill. The extraterritorial expert roared and charged towards Jiyu Fei with the halberd in his hand. The moment the halberd moved, it immediately triggered the power of the entire primordial void. At this moment, the souls of the outer realm experts were like the rulers of this world. They could use the power of the primordial void at will. I see. When Jiyu Fei saw this, his heart couldn't help but tremble. Boundless energy madly gathered towards the great halberd in the hands of the alien expert. A supreme energy ripple spread out from the halberd. Shua. The extraterrestrial expert waved the halberd in his hand and chopped it down directly at Jiyu Fei's head. Rumble. The entire space trembled violently, as if the entire world was crushing down on Jiyu Fei, causing Jiyu Fei to feel an immense pressure. Boom. Jiyu Fei raised his hand and a chaotic hand rushed out from it, pressing towards the sky. The powerful chaotic energy broke through the layers of primordial void power. Clang. When the chaotic hand collided with the halberd, there was a metallic screech. The powerful chaotic force blocked the halberd. What, When he caught sight of this, the powerful being from the other world was visibly moved. In this part of the void, he was the overlord, the unparalleled god. But right now, this unparalleled god of his found it hard to take down this human. Is that all? Ji Fei smiled. Then, the center of his brows lit up. At the next moment, a purple beam of light shot out from it, turning into a sword of the great Tao. It possessed an undying aura of the immortal Tao and slashed towards the extraterritorial expert. The extraterritorial expert sensed the ripples from the sword of the great Tao and could not help but change his expression. He pulled back the halberd and retreated. At the same time, he swung the halberd, blocking the sword of the great Tao. Ji Fei used the primordial sword technique. This secret technique specialized in attacking the enemy's primordial spirit. As long as he was hit by the primordial sword technique, he would die no matter how powerful the extraterritorial expert was. He would become a walking corpse without a primordial spirit. The extraterritorial expert's primordial spirit instinctively felt threatened. He did not dare to face the sword of the great Tao head-on and quickly retreated. Swish! The sword of the great Tao flashed past, and the halberd conjured from the power of the primordial spirit was immediately cut in half. It then dissipated into the air. Damn it! The extraterritorial expert was extremely shocked. He directly tore through the space and rushed out from his stomach. Then, he turned into a beam of divine light and rushed into the center of his brows. After his primordial spirit returned, the extraterritorial expert suddenly opened his eyes. Two resplendent beams of divine light shot out from his eyes. How dare you! I don't believe that I can't refine you. The extraterritorial expert roared angrily. He desperately used the extraterritorial mystic art. Endless power surged in his stomach. Divine chains condensed one after another and then wrapped around Ji Fei. All right, I've played enough. It's time to end this. Ji Fei stood up and flipped his right hand. A purple-gold divine sword immediately appeared in his hand. He gripped the sword with both hands and directly swept towards the countless divine chains that came at him. Vroom! The divine sword hummed, and a beam of purple-gold sword light shot out. The divine chains that came at him immediately dissipated in the air. Even the primordial void was cut open by the sword light. Roar! In the outside world, the extraterritorial expert let out a painful howl. A hideous sword wound appeared on his body, and blood was seeping out from it. How is this possible? My body has been tempered hundreds and thousands of times. It's comparable to those so-called divine weapons of the human race. How can I be injured? The extraterritorial expert was in disbelief. However, at this moment, another beam of bloody light shot out from his body. Another sword wound appeared on his body. It's that human. The extraterritorial expert was shocked. He immediately used the mystic art, wanting to swallow Ji Fei. But at this moment, Ji Fei didn't want to come out. He slashed again and again in the extraterritorial expert's stomach. The sword light tore through the space, creating more than a dozen cracks on the extraterritorial expert's stomach. The aura of the outside world seeped in through these cracks. I've already said that if you swallow me, you'll explode. Ha ha, Ji Fei laughed loudly. At this moment, more than a dozen sword wounds appeared on the extraterritorial expert's body. His entire body was dyed red with blood. Come out and fight if you have the guts. Chapter 2763. Ji Fei stayed in the alien expert's stomach and refused to come out. From time to time, he would swing the purple-gold divine sword in his hand and slash out. A bloody sword wound would appear on the alien expert's body. Roar! The alien expert roared into the sky. Endless great path laws appeared on his body and interweaved with the power of the great path to suppress his own body. Read the latest novel. The result of this was that the alien expert's own chi and blood were constantly being eroded and consumed by the power he had triggered. This was definitely not a good thing for him. Rumble, endless light of the great path bloomed and the power of the great path slashed towards Ji Fei like heavenly blades. However, it was all in vain. The purple-gold divine sword in Ji Fei's hand automatically devoured the power of the great path. At this time, Ji Yufei only had the purple gold divine sword in his hand. The emperor divine weapon was given to his daughter, Ji Yuling, and the peerless murderous blade was borrowed by the old turtle to break through the western underworld sea. He didn't know if that guy succeeded. The mountain and river cauldron was in the hands of Jiang Renhuang in the human realm. That day, Ji Yufei needed Jiang Renhuang's power to enter the heaven realm to undergo the tribulation, so the mountain and river cauldron was left in the human realm. Ji Yufei could only use the purple gold godly sword now. This was a paragon sword, and it was very likely that it was an extreme Dao immortal Dao sword refined by that legendary person. This sword had unfathomable power. Now, perhaps the purple gold divine sword had sensed the mighty power of the great path around it, so it was automatically absorbing this power. It had to be said that the purple gold divine sword had really helped him a lot this time. It allowed Ji Yufei to easily deal with all kinds of power of the great path without having to contend with all kinds of power of the great path. What kind of hero is relying on a paragon sword? If you have the guts, fight me with your own strength. The alien expert roared. His whole body emitted a towering light of the great path. The entire world was shaking as if the great path of the heavens was being displayed on his body. Haha, do you think I'm that stupid? Ji Yufei smiled. Heroism was simply bullshit in his eyes. He knew that he was never a hero. He just wanted to survive and become stronger. Ji Yufei smiled and said, "Don't worry. That was how he came to this day. Despicable and shameless guy, are all the humans in your world like this?" The expert from the other realms roared in rage. Back then, he was plotted against by someone and was sealed in a huge city for countless years. This resentment was absolutely enough to make him go crazy. However, as soon as he escaped, he encountered such a difficult opponent. Why was his luck so bad? Compared to the other foreign experts, no one was more unlucky than him. When the experts from the outer realm discovered the immortal world, it was definitely a terrifying disaster for the living beings in the immortal world. Outer realm experts were the same as the demons. They relied on plundering the essence energy of heaven and earth, or even the essence energy of living beings to increase their cultivation. For such a group of people to come to a world full of vitality, the consequences would be unpredictable. The marauders naturally believed that there was nothing wrong with devouring the lives of other creatures. However, it was different for the creatures they devoured. These outsiders were absolutely demonic existences. "Your goading is useless against me," Ji Yufei said. "What exactly do you want?" The boundless power of the great path was still surging, wanting to obliterate Ji Yufei. However, all of this was futile. As long as that sword existed, it could not threaten Ji Yufei. The expert from the other realms was well aware of the power of this extreme sword. The current him could not contend against this sword because he had encountered a powerful human who wielded such a weapon in the past. It should be known that the experts from the other realms were not invincible. They could be injured and could die. Of course, these existences were incomparably powerful. It was very difficult to kill these experts from the other realms. Otherwise, in the distant past, there wouldn't have been someone who sealed this Xenorace expert in a huge city. Even at this moment, Ji Yufei was extremely shocked. This was because the physical body of this expert from the other realms was truly powerful. It was so powerful that the murderous aura on the violet gold divine sword could not destroy the vitality of this physical body. This was something that had never happened before. If it was an ordinary living being at the holy venerable realm, they wouldn't even be able to withstand a single strike from the violet gold divine sword. It should be known that the murderous aura attached to the supreme sword was something that even a supreme being would be wary of. Of course, the murderous aura on the violet gold divine sword was not completely useless. The aura of the expert from the other realms was gradually weakening. "Haha, I don't want to do anything. I'm just playing with you," Ji Yufei said with a laugh. He was very interested in this expert from the other realms. This guy was very special. Moreover, this guy's physical body seemed to be different from others. The physical body of an expert from the other realms was ridiculously powerful. Even Ji Yufei knew that it would be difficult for him to withstand the violet gold divine sword. If he was struck by the violet gold divine sword, even he would die. He needed to understand the matters of this race. Moreover, he was also very interested in the world outside the realms. Since the experts from the other realms could come to the heaven realm from the other realms, then the experts from the heaven realm could also enter the other realms from the heaven realm. Countless years had passed. Perhaps no one in the current world knew these secrets. However, a living expert from the other realms was here. Play. When the expert from the other realms heard this, he was so angry that he almost vomited blood. Playing with his own life was the greatest humiliation to him. This almost drove him crazy. Tell me about the world outside the realms. Jiyu Fei said. What? Could it be that you have designs on the world outside the realms? When the expert from the other realms heard this, he couldn't help but be shocked. Why, can't I? Jiyu Fei said indifferently. Haha, it's not that you can't. If you feel that you are tired of living, I can tell you the method to enter the world outside the realms. The expert from the other realms said. Rumble, at this moment, there seemed to be 3,000 great Tao resonating within the body of the expert from the other realms. He wanted to use the absolute power of the great Tao to suppress the violet gold divine sword. However, the result of this was still futile. The violet gold divine sword was an existence that surpassed the 3,000 great Tao. How could it be suppressed by a mere 3,000 great Tao? How about this? Be my slave or die. How about it? Jiyu Fei said. The slumbering sword spirit in the violet gold divine sword showed signs of awakening. To the expert from the other realms, this was absolutely fatal. Once the sword spirit awakened, this sword could kill him. No one knew better than him what kind of threat this killing weapon refined by the human clan could pose to them. In the past, many experts from the other realms were killed by the supreme martial artist of the human clan. I would rather die in battle than lower my head. The expert from the other realms said angrily. Is that so? Then you have chosen to die. Very well, I have no reason not to fulfill your wish. Don't you think so? As Jiyu Fei said this, he directly cut his finger. A drop of blood fell on the violet gold divine sword. After the violet gold divine sword absorbed the drop of blood, it began to vibrate. Chapter 2764. The sword spirit of the purple gold divine sword was about to awaken. This was definitely a great threat to the extraterrestrial expert. It was a direct threat to his life. I'll give you another chance. Be my slave or die. Make your choice. Jiyu Fei's tone was very relaxed. It was as though he was talking about a trivial matter. However, this concerned the life and death of the extraterrestrial expert. The extraterrestrial expert was shocked and angry. However, he was under someone else's control. He only had two choices. Die or become this human slave. The arrogant extraterrestrial expert naturally did not want to be Jiyu Fei's slave. However, if he did not become a slave, he would die. If he died, he would have nothing. After being sealed in the huge city for countless years, the extraterrestrial expert naturally did not want to die. I don't have much patience. You'd better make your decision quickly. Jiyu Fei said impatiently. At this moment, a drop of blood appeared on his finger. That drop of blood landed on the purple gold divine sword. Buzz. The purple gold divine sword let out a hum. The spiritual waves emitted from the divine sword grew stronger. This was a sign that the sword spirit was about to awaken. At this moment, beads of sweat the size of soybeans appeared on the Xenorace expert's forehead. The hot beads of sweat rolled down his forehead, flowed down his face, and then dripped onto the ground. I'm willing to surrender. The extraterrestrial expert had no other choice. He did not want to die. He could only choose to be a slave. At least a slave could live. If he died, he would have nothing. A wise man submits to circumstances. Not bad. Jiyu Fei nodded. In order to prevent you from betraying me, I want to brand some things on your soul. You don't have any objections, right? Jiyu Fei said. Then do it. The extraterrestrial expert said in a bad mood. Jiyu Fei didn't come out of this fellow's stomach. He directly sat down cross-legged and circulated his Xian Qi. A soul brand immediately rushed out from between his eyebrows and directly imprinted itself into the foreign expert's sea of consciousness. This was a forbidden soul art. If an alien expert dared to betray Ji Yufei, he would die a miserable death. This foreign expert was called Ming Qiong, and he was a mighty lord in the foreign world. Back when he came to the heaven realm, this fellow had devoured millions of living beings in one gulp. He could be said to be extremely savage. However, countless years had passed, and the former overlord of the outer realm had already fallen from the supreme realm. He was no longer the overlord of the past. The sword spirit in the purple gold divine sword did not fully awaken in the end. Ji Yufei also rushed out of Ming Qiong's stomach. Ming Qiong pays respect to master. The alien expert, Ming Qiong, knelt before Ji Yufei. Although he was unwilling and unconvinced, there was nothing he could do. No matter if it was the cultivation world of the immortal dimension or the cultivation world of the outer realm, the laws of the strong that all living beings believed in were the same. The strong were respected, and the weak were existences that were like ants. Would the high and mighty gods care about the feelings of ants on the ground? Definitely not. Ming Qiong, who had lived for countless years, naturally knew this very well. The weak were prey to the strong, and whoever had the hardest fist was the boss. This was a law that would never change no matter where one went. Very good, haha, Ji Yufei laughed proudly. He never imagined that he would gain such a powerful subordinate in this so-called unknown territory. It made him very happy. Ming Qiong's strength was undeniable. If Ji Yufei hadn't grasped the purple gold divine sword and fought Ming Qiong on his own, it would have been difficult to predict the outcome of the battle. It must be said that Ming Qiong's physical body was unbelievably strong. Even an extreme path sword could only injure him, but not kill him. Moreover, Ming Qiong still possessed such great battle strength despite being sealed for countless years. It was hard to imagine just how powerful he had been at his peak. Alright, the reason I entered this unknown region this time is to find a person. Have you seen this person before? With that, Ji Yufei used a great technique and Zhao Ziru's appearance appeared in the void. I haven't seen her before. Ming Qiong shook his head. He hadn't broken free at that time, so even if he could release his divine consciousness, the range of his divine consciousness was very small. Even if someone walked past the giant city, he wouldn't be able to sense it. Then why aren't you looking for her? Ji Yufei said to Ming Qiong. Yes. Ming Qiong hurriedly accepted the order and left. Ji Yufei thought for a moment, then opened his inner world and summoned the undying creatures. Soon, the 3 undying emperors appeared in front of him. Lead your clansmen and find that person. Ji Yufei ordered the 3 undying emperors. Yes, master. The 3 undying emperors hurriedly accepted the order and led their clansmen away. Although there were countless hidden dangers in this mysterious territory, Ji Yufei had no other way. Trying to find Zhao Ziru in this endless mysterious territory alone was like looking for a needle in a haystack. There was strength in numbers. By releasing the Undying clan, Ji Yufei had the intention of tempering these undying creatures. The Undying clan had been recuperating in Ji Yufei's inner world for a long time, so it was time to release them. Ji Yufei had originally wanted to send out the 5,000 soldiers of the Meng family. However, after thinking about it, he gave up on that idea. After all, those 5,000 soldiers were his trump card. He also started to move. Just like that, the mysterious unknown territory became much more lively. Rumble. Not long after, a great battle broke out in a mountain ridge. It was a coiled-up snow-white giant snake. The 3 undying emperors encountered this giant snake. At one point, they thought that this coiled-up snow snake was a snowy mountain. Who knew that when they walked past this snowy mountain, this giant snake would suddenly attack and swallow more than 10 undying creatures in one gulp. This shocked the 3 undying emperors. A huge battle broke out, and the deathly aura filled the sky. The snake was so powerful that the 3 undying emperors couldn't suppress it for a while. In the end, Ming Qiong rushed over and punched the snake into pieces. He then left, leaving behind a group of petrified undying emperors. The dangers of an unknown region were truly frightening. Ji Yufei continued to walk in this unknown region. He released his spiritual force with all his might, sensing everything within a 10,000-mile radius around him. However, he still didn't find anything. The unknown territory was too vast, and no one knew where Zhao Ziru was hiding. Boom. Chapter 2765. The sudden attack shocked Ji Yufei. He took a step forward and instantly disappeared from where he was. In the next moment, he reappeared over 10 kilometers away. Bam! At the same time, a huge black beast claw slammed down from the sky, shattering the space where Ji Yufei had been. Even the chaotic aura was blown out. Ji Yufei hurriedly looked over in shock. He saw a huge figure rush out from the snow and dust. It was a humanoid creature covered in black scales. Although this creature had the body of a human, it was definitely not human. Not only was it covered in black scales, but it also had a beast's head. It was the head of a true dragon. Ji Yufei was very surprised that such a creature existed in this world. However, what truly shocked him was that he could not sense any aura of a true dragon from this creature. It was as if this creature had grown a true dragon's head. Roar. The dragon-headed creature roared angrily at the sky. Its roar caused the sky to tremble, as if it could collapse at any time. It was extremely ferocious. Ji Yufei naturally would not be truly frightened by such a creature. He had seen creatures even more frightening than this creature. Another holy venerable level creature? Ji Yufei found it rather unbelievable. There were actually so many holy venerable level creatures in this mysterious unknown region. How was this possible? Why had so many holy venerable level creatures appeared here? No one knew, because for countless years, not many people had entered these unknown and mysterious regions, and not everyone dared to enter such regions. This was because it was rumored that the mysterious unknown regions were extremely dangerous. A human. The dragon-headed creature stared at Ji Yufei, its blood-red eyes filled with endless ferocity. The baleful aura on its body soared into the sky. It was unknown just how many lives this creature had killed for it to be able to condense such a powerful baleful aura. What are you? Are you also a creature from the outer realms? Ji Yufei frowned. Beings from the outer realms? The blood-red light in the dragon-headed creature's eyes intensified. It wasn't a demon, but it was definitely more dangerous than ordinary demons. The dragon-headed creature raised its head to the sky and inhaled, instantly devouring the worldly essence energy within a radius of over 100,000 kilometers, causing the surrounding space to become a spiritual energy vacuum. Good heavens, seeing that, Ji Yufei could not help but be moved. If this creature were to enter the other regions of the heaven realm, wouldn't a lot of people die? The dragon-headed creature's aura had become even more powerful after devouring the worldly spirit energy within a radius of over 100,000 miles. Streams of black malevolent energy swirled around its body. Boom! The dragon-headed creature attacked right away, swiping its right claw at Ji Yufei again. 5 beams of black light shot out from its sharp claws, piercing through the void. This dragon-headed creature was the size of a small mountain. As it swiped its sharp claws, it enveloped an area of the void. 5 rays of black light tore through the void. Bam! Ji Yufei stepped forward and punched out. His right fist shattered the 5 beams of black light that shot out from the beast's claws, and then collided with the beast's claws. The mountain-like ferocious beast let out a furious roar as it was sent flying by Ji Yufei's punch. Bloody marks appeared on its right claw. It can actually take a punch from me? Ji Yufei muttered to himself. This dragon-headed creature's fleshly body was incomparably powerful. Although he hadn't used his full strength in that punch, he had still used 50 to 60% of his strength. Yet, he had only injured the vicious beast, not broken its sharp claws. The beast's roar shook the heavens and the earth. The torn flesh on its claws healed at a visible rate. Human, you are very strong, but you will still die. The dragon-headed creature's voice rang out in Ji Yufei's mind. This was a communication between spiritual wills. You're not too bad yourself. I'll give you 2 choices as well. One is to die, and the other is to submit to me and become my slave. Ji Yufei did not strike out again. He looked at the dragon-headed creature before him and said these words calmly. He had already said these words to Ming Qiong once before. Ha ha ha. The dragon-headed creature roared out in laughter. To think that this human would want him to become his slave. This was way too brazen. This was just courting death. I'll give you two choices as well. One is to come over here obediently and let me eat you up. The other is for me to eat you up personally. Which one do you choose? Ha ha ha. The dragon-headed creature laughed out mockingly. Since that's the case, I'll eat you up as well. To be honest, I've never eaten a living being from the outer world before. Gu Fei replied nonchalantly. Human, you're really arrogant. But it's a pity that you've met me. You're destined to become my food. The dragon-headed creature said coldly. Is that so? Come and give it a try then. Don't end up like Ming Qiong and get stuffed. Gu Fei replied nonchalantly. What did you say? Ming Qiong? The moment the dragon-headed creature heard Ming Qiong's name, it seemed as though it was taken aback. Those bloodshot eyes of its narrowed as though it had thought of something. Come on then. What are you waiting for? If you're not going to do it, I'm going to. Gu Fei replied nonchalantly. It was as though he wasn't bothered by this extremely powerful dragon-headed creature at all. Even though the dragon-headed creature was strong, there was no way it could be stronger than Ming Qiong. Ming Qiong was an overlord of the outer world. In the outer world, this dragon-headed creature couldn't even be compared to an overlord. Were you talking about Ming Qiong? The dragon-headed creature asked carefully. That's right. This Ming Qiong knows his place. But you don't seem to know your place. Gu Fei replied. What? Ming Qiong has become your slave? That's impossible. That's absolutely impossible. How could someone like him become the slave of someone else? The dragon-headed creature exclaimed in disbelief. Looks like you know Ming Qiong. Gu Fei said with interest. Swoosh. The dragon-headed creature didn't say anything else. It just turned around and fled. Trying to escape. Gu Fei laughed. He reached out with his huge hand and grabbed forward. A huge chaotic hand appeared in the void, covering the entire area in an instant. A heaven-devouring power surged out of the huge chaotic hand and enveloped the dragon-headed creature in an instant. Roar. The dragon-headed creature roared and struggled with all its might. However, it was still sent flying towards Gu Fei. It couldn't break free from the heaven-devouring power that had enveloped it. I'm going all out. The dragon-headed creature also knew that it wasn't going to end well today. It turned around and spat out a mouthful of black flames at Gu Fei. The black flames spread out instantly, trying to engulf Gu Fei. Boom! Gu Fei's right hand jerked, and the black flames were dispersed by the chaotic energy that burst forth from the huge chaotic hand. At the same time, the heaven-devouring power that was surging out of the huge chaotic hand disappeared. In its place was a ferocious power that resembled the eruption of 100,000 volcanoes. The dragon-headed creature was sent flying and coughed out blood. At this moment, the dragon-headed creature was beyond shocked. This human was really strong. To think that he had the demeanor of a supreme being. Boom! Boom! An extremely powerful force surged out from the body of the dragon-headed creature, stabilizing its body and stopping its retreat. The powerful ripples spread out from the body of the dragon-headed creature, shaking the entire void. A series of dragon-shaped Dao patterns surged out from the body of the dragon-headed creature. Gu Fei noticed that the cultivation technique of this extraterritorial being was rather unique. This extraterritorial being seemed to have imprinted the Dao pattern that it had cultivated onto its body. The Dao pattern appeared in its flesh, blood, and bones. This kind of skill seemed to be somewhat similar to the one that Yi Futian was cultivating. It was a way of cultivating one's physical body, and it was a very brilliant one at that. At this moment, the flesh and bones of the dragon-headed creature were all radiating with the divine light of the Great Path. Its entire body seemed to have transformed into a body of the Great Path, resonating with the Great Path. Haha, you want to borrow the power of the Great Path? I don't even care about the true heavenly path. Gu Fei laughed out loud. Voom! The divine sound of the Great Path rang out from the body of the dragon-headed creature, and a scorching ball of light of the Great Path enveloped it. Then, The dragon-headed creature turned into a beam of blade light that tore through the sky and tried to escape into the chaos. This creature no longer dared to fight against Ji Yufei. At this moment, it had already believed what Ji Yufei had said. It seemed that this human had really subdued Ming Qiong. In the extraterrestrial world, the existence of a region lord was definitely a group of top-notch figures. Even if they weren't the strongest, they weren't far from it. If even someone like that had been subdued by this human, what more could it do? The dragon-headed creature had only just broken free, and its cultivation state was no longer what it used to be. If it were at its peak, it naturally wouldn't be afraid of this human. But now, it couldn't do so unless it was at its peak. The dragon-headed creature was very sure of itself, and it wanted to retreat immediately. However, Ji Yufei wasn't going to let this creature escape so easily. He truly hadn't eaten any extraterrestrial beings before. Since this creature wasn't willing to surrender, there was nothing more to say. At this moment, Ji Yufei's figure instantly disappeared in the void, and in the next moment, he appeared behind the dragon-headed creature. He struck out with his palm and directly struck the creature down from its state of integration with the Great Path. "I surrender." The dragon-headed creature cried out in fear. "But it's too late now. I want to try out whether the flesh of extraterrestrial beings tastes good or not." Ji Yufei licked his lips. "You." Upon hearing these words, the dragon-headed creature was infuriated. This human was way too much. To think that he would really want to eat it. But didn't it want to eat this human as well? Boom. The dragon-headed creature smashed through the void, wanting to escape once more. But at this moment, Ji Yufei displayed his extreme speed of 8 steps and appeared beside the dragon-headed creature in the blink of an eye. With a wave of his hand, a bedazzling beam of light shot out from his hand. Phew. Chapter 2766. The dragon-headed creature was incomparably powerful. Its body was like the Great Tao, coexisting with the Great Tao. This was definitely a being that had cultivated to an undying level. However, there was no such thing as an undying being in this world. Even ancient sovereigns would fall at some point, let alone the dragon-headed creature. Rumble, Ji Yufei slashed out with his sword and cut the spirit creature in half. Blood splattered everywhere, and every drop of blood radiated with crimson light. Tao runes were faintly discernible. A single drop of this blood was enough to destroy the world. When it landed on the ground, it would dye an entire region red. Any being stained by this blood would definitely not survive. Even immortals wouldn't be able to withstand the tyrannical murderous aura of this dragon-headed creature's blood. A few drops of blood actually pierced through Ji Yufei's god shield and splashed onto Ji Yufei's sleeves, corroding them into small holes. What tyrannical blood! Ji Yufei couldn't help but be moved. This dragon-headed creature's cultivation wasn't all that impressive, but its blood was very tyrannical. It was much more tyrannical than the blood of ordinary beings. Roar! The dragon-headed creature roared. The two halves of its body flew up and joined together, but it was very difficult to fuse them back together. Rumble! The dragon-headed creature's body emitted the sound of thunder and wind. Countless rays of light circled around its body, and the aura of the Great Tao was extremely powerful. However, Ji Yufei's sword was no ordinary swordlight. The executioner of the 9 swords was the supreme way of the sword, and the swordlight contained the power of the supreme Great Tao. It wasn't that easy to recover from being cut by the swordlight. Executioner of the 9 swords. Ji Yufei separated his hands and 9 swordlights appeared around him. The 9 swordlights immediately shot into the sky, transforming into a shocking rainbow that slashed towards the dragon-headed creature. What? The dragon-headed creature was truly shocked. It had to abandon the lower half of its body and soar into the sky, wanting to dodge the 9 swordlights. However, the 9 swordlights displayed the supreme power of the way of the sword and sealed the space around them. The 9 swordlights instantly slashed through the upper half of the dragon-headed creature's body. The dragon-headed creature's movements froze as sword marks appeared on its body. In the next moment, the upper half of the creature's body shattered into countless pieces. Whoosh! A mass of blood-red light broke through the top of the dragon-headed creature's head and rushed out. It directly soared into the sky, trying to escape. The dazzling blood-red light illuminated the entire world. It was as if a blood-red divine sun had appeared in the world. What a powerful blood energy! Even Jiyu Fei couldn't help but be moved. This dragon-headed creature's blood chi was so vigorous that it wasn't inferior to his own. This was the first time he had encountered such a vigorous creature. Haha, very good. I'll eat a creature with such strong blood energy and raise my cultivation. Jiyu Fei laughed. He used the 9 heaven punishing swords right away, sealing the world and forcing the ball of bloody light back. Within the bloody light was a figure. That figure was the primordial spirit of the dragon-headed creature. Don't kill me. The dragon-headed creature was truly frightened at that moment. Don't you outer realm beings love to eat? I'll give you a taste of your own medicine. Jiyu Fei licked his lips and said, Why you can't eat me? I know many things about the outer realm. As long as you don't eat me, I'm willing to be your slave for all eternity. I just want to live, the dragon-headed creature said in horror. Just accept your fate. After saying that, Jiyu Fei extended his hand and grabbed the dragon-headed creature's soul. It was as if he was grabbing a blood-red sun. That's right. Roar. Then let's die together. The dragon-headed creature roared angrily. It was about to blow up its primordial spirit. Endless bloody light shone from the blood-colored sun in Jiyu Fei's hand. A terrifying, destructive power was about to erupt. If that power were to explode, even Jiyu Fei would be affected. Jiyu Fei naturally wouldn't let such a thing happen. Primal Chaos divine light rushed up from his hand. 9 primal chaos Tao patterns appeared in the void and sealed the bloodlight in his hand. You cultivate the great Tao of chaos. The dragon-headed creature was extremely shocked. Alright, I'm a little hungry now. I'll cook your body first. Let's see if outer realm beings taste good. I'm really looking forward to it. As Jiyu Fei spoke, he took out an ancient cauldron and threw the dragon-headed creature's body, which had been destroyed by the sword chi of punishing heaven, into the cauldron. Then, he opened his inner world and drew water from the divine spring of life to fill the cauldron. Then, he released flames of the way to cook the dragon-headed creature's body. Ordinary divine fire would not be able to cook out the divine substance contained in the body of a creature with such a powerful body. Only flames of the way could cook such a creature. The dragon-headed creature's primordial spirit was both shocked and furious. Its primordial spirit had been sealed by Jiyu Fei's 9 chaotic Tao patterns, so it saw everything clearly. This human was too cruel. He was really going to eat it. This shocked the dragon-headed creature to its limits. This completely shattered its understanding of the human race. While Jiyu Fei was cooking the dragon-headed creature's body, in the Southern Mountains divine emperor Kang Xiao was in big trouble. The Fire Emperor had finally made a move. He had taken down a few big cities under the control of Southern Mountains divine emperor Kang Xiao and killed all the cultivators in them. The Fire Emperor had not made a move before, but once he did, it was earth-shattering. The atmosphere in the southern mountains of the Heaven Realm was extremely tense. The 2 super forces of the Southern Mountains were about to fight. Some people were very uneasy. Once these 2 forces started an all-out war, many people would die. Countless living beings would perish. Some people did not want to see the living beings suffer. Just as the atmosphere in the Southern Mountains became extremely tense, in the West Underworld Sea in the west of the Heaven Realm, the old turtle was doing something big enough to shock the entire Heaven Realm. Yes, the old turtle wanted to flatten the West Underworld Sea and open up the path of heavenly mortality. With the West Underworld Sea as a forbidden area, the path of heavenly mortality would be blocked. People from the lower worlds could not enter the Heaven Realm through the ancient road to heaven. Once the West Underworld Sea was flattened, cultivators from the Heaven Realm and the human realm would be able to travel freely. At this time, many forces were alarmed. Powerful figures appeared near the West Underworld Sea. Everyone was very curious. Whether the old turtle could succeed or not was still unknown. Since ancient times, no one had ever been able to flatten the forbidden area. Many people were not optimistic about the old tortoise. Some people knew the origin and identity of the old tortoise, but so what? It should be known that even in the distant past when there were supreme beings, no one had been able to level the forbidden area. The forbidden area had always existed. After countless years, no one had ever seen it flattened. Chapter 2767. The old tortoise wanted to flatten the forbidden area of the West Dark Sea Ocean. The West Dark Sea Ocean had already suffered a great loss during the battle in the forbidden area, so it was time to take advantage of its weakness. He had been roaming around the periphery of the West Dark Sea Ocean for the past few days, leaving array runes on the mountain ridges. Some people realized that as the old tortoise continued to set up arrays, the power of heaven and earth gradually began to change. It was as if the power of heaven and earth had been triggered. As time passed, a large number of cultivators gradually gathered outside the West Dark Sea Ocean. Among these cultivators, there were even some extremely powerful figures. Some people saw the figure of the East Sky Emperor, Yuan Jiyu. The ancient celestial emperor had finally appeared. He did not attack the old tortoise, nor did he intend to take back the Eastern Territory. No one knew what East Sky Emperor Yuan Jiyu wanted to do. This emperor had always been mysterious and powerful. This time, he had suffered such a big loss and even lost his territory, yet he was still able to endure it. As expected, he was an extraordinary person. Many people admired the ancient celestial emperor. Some people also saw the Fire Emperor roaming around the mountain ridges outside the West Dark Sea Ocean. Some people did not believe that the Fire Emperor would appear in the West Dark Sea Ocean. It should be known that the southern mountains were not peaceful at the moment. The southern mountains' god emperor, Kang Xiao, was constantly thinking about how to retaliate against the Fire Emperor. However, the methods of emperors were not something that ordinary cultivators could imagine. No one knew if these emperors would come in their true bodies or if they were just clones. For the ancient celestial emperor, it was no secret that his clones were traveling. He had never traveled with his true body, and no one had ever seen his true body. As for the ancient celestial emperor, he was an old antique that had been asleep for countless years. He was a powerful ancient emperor who had awakened from his slumber in this era. The Fire Emperor was definitely not any less mysterious than the ancient celestial emperor. The old tortoise wanted to attack the forbidden area again. This was definitely an earth-shattering event in the heavenly realm. Even the emperors would not be able to sit still. It should be known that if the old tortoise could really flatten the West Dark Sea Ocean, the impact would be unimaginable. Moreover, as long as the West Dark Sea Ocean was flattened, the heavenly mortal path would be unobstructed, and cultivators from the heavenly realm and the mortal world would be able to travel freely. At this time, the sun rose from the east. The old turtle sat cross-legged on top of a mountain. He was deducing a formation, and in front of him was a formation plate with countless runes intertwining on it. Time passed. He sat there for most of the day. An old man came to visit the old turtle several times. Each time, he didn't disturb the old turtle. He just took a look and then left. There were not many people who could get so close to the old turtle. That old man was a transcendent existence in the Heaven Realm's demon clan. It was precisely because of the old man's existence that the old tortoise was not afraid that someone would plot against it in the dark. It could do whatever it wanted without any scruples. Sigh, if only Hei Tian was here now. Old tortoise sighed. He ended the deduction of the formation and put away the formation plate in his hand. Then, he sighed and stood up from the boulder. Hei Tian was a formation grandmaster, and his mastery of formations had reached the pinnacle. Even old tortoise was impressed by Hei Tian's mastery of formations. If Hei Tian helped, things would naturally be much easier. However, Hei Tian's current whereabouts were unknown. At this time, Hei Tian was trapped together with Ji Changkong in the real land of ascension on the ancestral Myrtle Star. They had obtained a great fortune. Once they escaped, it would definitely cause a great commotion on the ancestral Myrtle Star. There were many people in the Ji family who didn't want to see Ji Changkong reappear. Ji Changkong's reappearance shook the entire Ji family. In the past, Ji Changkong was lost in the primal chaos world. Everyone thought that he had died in the primal chaos world. However, after tens of thousands of years, he actually came back alive. The current Ji family head was even more restless. The reason why Ji Changkong was lost in the primal chaos world and couldn't leave in time was because he was plotted against by his family. This time, Ji Changkong returned to the ancestral Myrtle Star to seek revenge. The people who followed him into the primal chaos world were all dead. They gave him the chance to live. He wanted to seek justice for these people and let the Evilders of the past receive the punishment they deserved. It didn't matter if those Evilders had a high position in the Ji family. However, an unimaginable change occurred. He actually entered the real land of Ascension. The legendary land of Ascension had a great fortune. This was not false. He Tian and Ji Changkong had been trapped in the land of Ascension for a long time. However, they were not in a hurry to leave. They wanted to use the great fortune here to improve their cultivation as much as possible. While He Tian and Ji Changkong were cultivating in the land of Ascension, Ji Yufei was boiling a cauldron of great medicine in a mysterious valley in the northern snowy region. Ji Yufei sat cross-legged in front of the ancient cauldron. He used the great Dao fire to boil the dragon-headed creature in the cauldron. An extremely powerful wave of qi and blood spread out from the ancient cauldron. The bloodline power of the dragon-headed creature was continuously refined by the great Dao fire and integrated into the liquid in the cauldron. Ji Yufei opened his inner world and plucked a few sacred medicines. Then, he threw them into the ancient cauldron and mixed them with the dragon-headed creature to boil. Very quickly, a medicinal and meaty aroma spread out from the ancient cauldron. Ji Yufei's spirit was lifted. At the same time, he started to eat. This cauldron of great medicine was definitely a rare great medicine in the human world. It should be known that the dragon-headed creature was a ferocious beast from the outer realm. In the heaven realm, it was definitely a unique existence. Moreover, those sacred medicines were not something that ordinary people could take out. Within the ancient cauldron, spiritual light and blood-red light intertwined. Runes continuously rushed out from the ancient cauldron and dissipated into the void. They turned into a rain of light and sprinkled on the ancient cauldron. This was definitely a strange scene. Ji Yufei had brewed great medicine many times, but he had never encountered such a thing. Soon, the divine sound of the great Tao came from the ancient cauldron. It was as if a supreme existence was reciting supreme scriptures. Unfortunately, this ancient cauldron was not the mountain and river cauldron. Using this ancient cauldron to boil great medicine was not enough. The great medicine that was brewed was naturally not as strong as the medicine brewed with the mountain and river cauldron. Of course, the great medicine brewed with this ancient cauldron was still not bad. Ji Yufei's cauldron of great medicine had been boiled for an entire day and night, and he had used both civil and martial fires. Finally, he had successfully boiled out the divine substance contained in the dragon-headed creature's body. The moment the great medicine was brewed, a ball of 9-colored divine light burst out from the ancient cauldron. The 9-colored divine light eventually turned into a 9-colored lotus and disappeared into the ancient cauldron. It's done. Chapter 2768. Ji Yufei's cauldron of medicine was extraordinary. When the medicine was done, a 9-colored divine lotus appeared on the cauldron. Such a phenomenon could be said to be rare since ancient times. Only when a peerless divine medicine was refined would such a phenomenon occur. For example, in the ancient times, when someone refined the heavenly law pill that could directly make one a saint, there would be all kinds of phenomena when the pill was formed. The heavenly law pill was a legendary divine pill. It contained great Tao runes and could seize the fortune of heaven and earth. Even if a mortal ate one, they could immediately become a saint. The cauldron of divine medicine that Ji Yufei brewed was definitely not comparable to the heavenly Tao pill, but it was not much worse. Although eating this cauldron of divine medicine would not allow one to immediately become a sage, it was still possible for one to become a semi-sage. A cauldron of divine medicine could make a half-saint. If one could frequently refine a cauldron of divine medicine like this, wouldn't they be able to create a large number of half-saints? Of course, this was something Ji Yufei could only dream about. One should know that refining a cauldron of divine medicine like this was not easy. One should know that saint venerables weren't something that could be found easily. Creatures that could cultivate to saint venerables were already very rare. Even in the ancient desolate world, there weren't many of them. Rumble, The primordial spirit of the dragon-headed creature struggled violently, wanting to break the seal. However, it was all in vain. 9 primordial Tao runes were imprinted in the void, forming a cage that firmly sealed the dragon-headed creature. Yes, the flesh and blood of the cage have all been refined and fused into the divine liquid of life. The medicinal properties of the divine medicines have also been refined together. Not bad. Ji Yufei opened the lid of the cauldron and saw that the originally full cauldron of divine liquid of life had been reduced to less than a third of its original size. The divine medicine in the cauldron was a kind of liquid with 9-colored divine light flowing around it. There were vague Tao runes in the liquid, emanating a powerful Saint Tao aura. What? You bastard! You actually refined my fleshly body. The dragon-headed creature's primordial spirit sent out intense divine will fluctuations. It was horrified. How could its physical body be refined? This was impossible. However, it had no choice but to believe it because the truth spoke louder than words. Its body had really been completely refined by Ji Yufei. Every drop of this cauldron of great medicine could bring a person back from the dead. It was incomparably precious. Sigh, I miscalculated. Ji Yufei glanced at the primordial spirit of the dragon-headed creature and suddenly sighed. If the primordial spirit of the dragon-headed creature was thrown into the cauldron as well, the medicinal power of the cauldron would be even stronger. Perhaps it would be infinitely close to a heaven-defying divine pill like the heavenly Tao pill. The primordial spirit's vital energy soared into the sky. Most of the vital energy stored in the creature's body was extracted by the primordial spirit. I'll make another cauldron of medicine next time. Ji Yufei muttered to himself. Actually, he wanted to refine a cauldron of great medicine like the heavenly Tao pill that could allow people to directly become saints. However, this kind of great medicine was not so easy to refine. Of course, if he added in the undying divine medicine, he might be able to refine such a great medicine. However, Ji Yufei did not have the time to refine such a great medicine now. He still had to find Zhao Ziru. He had already guessed that Zhao Ziru must have found some clues in this uninhabited region. There must be something that attracted her to take the risk to enter this mysterious region. Just what secret does this region have? Ji Yufei kept the ancient cauldron. He did not plan to consume this cauldron of great medicine now. He did not have the time to refine this cauldron of great medicine. He glanced at the primordial spirit of the dragon-headed creature. Perhaps, this fellow might know something. Swish. A divine light rushed out from Ji Yufei's glabella. That divine light directly passed through the seal of the 9 primordial Tao patterns and entered the primordial spirit of the dragon-headed creature. He used the godly seizing secret technique to forcefully read the memories of the dragon-headed creature. Very soon, he found out the secret of this unknown region. As it turned out, this mysterious region was actually a prison, a place where prisoners were exiled. In the distant past, those evil creatures that were difficult to kill were sealed in this mysterious region. In the depths of this mysterious region, there was a place where a heaven-defying item suppressed the entire region. Someone wanted to grind away these prisoners. This was a very good method. Many powerful and vicious prisoners had been grinded away. However, there were some powerful prisoners that had been sealed for countless years that were still difficult to grind away. They did not die. Not only did they not lose their lives, they even managed to break through the seal and escape. Looks like there's something wrong with that item. Ji Yufei withdrew the divine light of Tao that had sunk into the primordial spirit of the dragon-headed creature, then sealed the primordial spirit of the creature into his inner world. Looks like junior sister Zhao Ziru must be going for that item, murmured Ji Yufei. Ji Yufei muttered to himself. Then, he looked at the sky. It was already dusk. After nightfall, this uninhabited mysterious region would become even more dangerous. Of course, with Ji Yufei's level of cultivation and battle prowess, he could obviously ignore all the dangers in this region. Swish. Ji Yufei immediately used his 8 steps extreme speed and instantly disappeared from where he was. With his current speed, even saints would not be able to see him clearly. He needed to hurry to where the item was before nightfall. At this moment, Ming Qiong was also heading towards the depths of the mysterious region. He wanted to retrieve the item and release all the prisoners that were still alive. This was a prison region that had existed since ancient times. Countless great beasts were imprisoned here, and even some foreign experts were imprisoned here. The prison region had operated normally in ancient times, and many great beasts from ancient times had been imprisoned here as well. However, ever since the ancient times, the prison region had gradually been abandoned, so much so that contemporary cultivators did not even know of its existence. Moreover, a place like the prison region had always been very mysterious. Apart from some big shots from ancient times, very few people knew that such a place existed in the heavenly realm. At this moment, the three immortal emperors received Ji Yufei's message and also headed towards the center of the region to search. Boom! Just as Ji Yufei was heading towards the center of the uninhabited region, a loud noise came from the depths of the mysterious region, causing the entire region to shake. What happened? Ji Yufei stopped. He was bewildered. Oh no! He thought of something and could not help but be moved. Then, he directly disappeared into the void. Rumble! The entire prison region was shaking. Bang! A mountain peak exploded, and a figure with towering killing intent rushed out from the collapsed mountain peak, roaring at the sky with unparalleled ferocity. Boom! A valley collapsed, and endless chaotic chi rushed out of the valley. Amidst the chaotic chi, a dragon-shaped creature was faintly discernible. Clanging sounds came from the body of the dragon-shaped creature, which was wrapped in divine chains. Roar! The dragon-shaped creature roared at the sky and struggled with all its might, trying to break free from the divine chains on its body. However, the divine chains wrapped around the dragon-shaped creature emitted the light of the Great Path, tightly locking it in place. The prison region is about to collapse. When Ji Yufei arrived at the center of the prison region, beams of divine light rushed out from the region in front of him. The divine light was incomparably powerful, directly tearing the void between heaven and earth. An aura that caused the world to tremble spread from the region in front of him. The aura of the Great Path. Ji Yufei was somewhat in disbelief. There was actually someone in the prison region who used a saint artifact of the Great Path to suppress these ancient prisoners, but now it seemed that there was a problem with the saint artifact. He read everything about the prison region from the memories of the dragon-headed creature's primordial spirit. In the center of the prison region, there was an extremely powerful object that suppressed the entire prison region. It was precisely because of the suppression of this object that for countless years, no prisoner could break the seal and escape. Someone was collecting the saint artifact of the Great Path, causing the entire prison region to shake. Roar! Roars came from all over the prison region. Many prisoners who had not died yet roared excitedly, because the power of the prison region's suppression was rapidly weakening. More and more powerful prisoners broke through the seals and rushed out of the prison. For a moment, the originally quiet prison region suddenly became lively, and extremely powerful ferocious auras spread out from all over the region. The great ancient beast's ferocious power was endless. Even after countless years, its ferocious nature was difficult to erase. Roar! Just as the three immortal emperors rushed towards where Ji Yufei was, a black flood dragon suddenly rushed out of a valley in front of them. The black flood dragon's body was wrapped in divine chains. It opened its mouth and spat out a black divine flame that burned towards the three immortal emperors. The black flames instantly spread and enveloped the entire void, enveloping the three immortal emperors and the undead clan powerhouses that they led in the black divine flames. Rumble! The three immortal emperors attacked at the same time. The mighty power of the undead blocked all the black divine flames that swept over. The divine flames dissipated, but the black flood dragon was dragged into the ground by the divine chains wrapped around its body. Who on earth dares to take that suppressor? At this time, Ming Qiong also arrived. He was extremely shocked. He naturally knew what was in the place in front of him. That was where the suppressor of the prison region was located. Even Ming Qiong coveted the suppressor of the prison region and wanted it. But at this time, someone was trying to take away the suppressor of the prison region. This shocked Ming Qiong and made him feel very uneasy. Once the suppressor was taken away, he would really be Ji Yufei's slave for the rest of his life. This was because only the suppressor of the prison region could break the seal that Jiu Fei had branded on Ming Qiong and restore his freedom. Junior Sister Zhao. Chapter 2769. The prison zone covered a large area, but it only took up a small portion of the uninhabited area. The entire prison zone was a super formation. The eye of this super formation was in the center of the prison zone. There was something guarding the eye of the formation. Read the latest novel. It was precisely because of the existence of that thing that the prison zone could exist, and had not disappeared even after so many years. At this moment, the entire prison zone was shaking. A terrifying wave spread out from the center of the prison zone, shaking the entire area. Rumble, rays of divine light shot out from the center of the prison zone like lightning, tearing through the void as a violent and ferocious aura spread out. In the sky above the prison zone, the weather changed, the sun and moon dimmed, and the ground cracked. Endless evil energy rushed out from the cracks, and the entire area seemed to be on the verge of collapse. Roars rang out from all over the prison zone. An ancient great beast had broken free, and a huge figure stood on the ground, roaring at the sky. Although it had been imprisoned for countless years, its ferocity was still terrifying. At this moment, Ming Qiong appeared on top of a mountain outside the prison zone. He stared at the vast evil energy in front of him, his eyes shining brightly. He was extremely shocked. He had once been one of the ancient great beasts who had been imprisoned in the prison zone for countless years, so he naturally knew many of its secrets. Someone was trying to get the item in the eye of the prison zone's formation, and that person was trying to retrieve it, but had yet to succeed. The eye of the prison zone's formation was guarded by an extreme saint artifact of the Great Path, and not just anyone could retrieve it, unless they were that person's heir or descendant. Roar. Just as Ming Qiong was about to enter the area, a roar came from the tumbling evil energy in front of him. Before he could react, a black figure had already broken through the evil energy and pounced at him. It was a black Chilean tiger, covered from head to toe in a thick layer of black scales. The scales were faintly discernible with runes, and they emitted a ferocious and violent aura. Haha, I haven't tasted blood for thousands of years. This beast has come at the right time. Ming Qiong laughed as a cruel and cold expression appeared on his face. He then pounced towards the black Chilean tiger that was pouncing towards him. This was a primitive beast, and it was powerful to the extreme. It had just broken free, and it displayed its ferocious might. A tiger roar shook the heavens and the earth, and numerous pitch-black spatial rifts split open in space. This powerful force that tore through the void could not harm Ming Qiong. His physical body was so strong that even an extreme sword could not destroy his vitality. How could the power of a mere spatial tear hurt him? Ming Qiong snorted coldly and reached out with his right hand to grab the black Chilean tiger. He grabbed the tiger's skin and flipped himself onto the tiger's back. Roar. The black Chilean tiger roared angrily. It was an ancient species, and it was also a tiger emperor that could swallow a saint-level creature in one gulp. Even though it had been sealed for countless years, it was still extremely fierce. The tiger's roar shook the heavens and the earth, shattering the void. The black Chilean tiger struggled fiercely, shaking its body with all its might, trying to shake off the guy on its back. However, Ming Qiong seemed to have grown onto the tiger's back. No matter how the black Chilean tiger struggled, it could not shake Ming Qiong off or send him flying. Be a good boy and let me eat you. Ha ha. Ming Qiong laughed wantonly. Although this black Chilean tiger had been sealed for countless years, and its blood had dried up, a starving camel was still bigger than a horse. Its essence was still very strong. Rumble. Ming Qiong's body emitted the sound of thunder. He was about to kill the black Chilean tiger. Don't kill me. This little beast is willing to be the Lord's mount and serve the Lord. A voice suddenly rang out in Ming Qiong's heart. The black Chilean tiger was a powerful existence that surpassed the saint level. At this critical juncture, it did not want to be killed just like that. The ancient Tiger King was very unwilling to face the threat of death just as it was freed. It did not want to die, so it could only beg for mercy. This was unimaginable when the black Chilean Tiger King dominated the Chaos Continent. It never thought that there would be a day when it would beg for mercy from another powerful being. Be my mount. Ming Qiong was a little surprised. He did not think that the Black Chilean Tiger King would beg for mercy. One should know that the Black Chilean Tiger King was not a weak race in the ancient times. Moreover, the Black Chilean Tiger King was violent and bloodthirsty. There would often be some powerful and terrifying beasts in this race. It was no coincidence that this Tiger King had been sealed in the prison zone. However, it had not died after being sealed for countless years. This was definitely something that no one could imagine. One should know that although this ancient Tiger King was powerful, it was far from a foreign expert like Ming Qiong. It was not surprising that Ming Qiong could survive. Interesting. Ming Qiong muttered to himself. I am in need of some subordinates to help me. Very well, as you wish. Ming Qiong nodded. Then, he formed a seal with both hands and sent a foreign mark into the Black Chilean Tiger King's forehead, branding it into its soul. The Black Chilean Tiger King immediately became obedient, like a docile cat. Just as Ming Qiong subdued the Black Chilean Tiger King, a rumbling sound came from the core of the prison zone. Then, the spiritual energy of the heavens and earth from all directions rushed towards the core. What? Ming Qiong was shocked to the core. Could it be that the being that had barged into the core had actually obtained the item? Did it succeed? In another region, Ji Yufei stood on top of a mountain. Using his martial path heavenly eye, he seemed to see a figure pulling something out of the ground. It had to be said that the person's willpower was extremely strong. If it had been anyone else, they would have given up long ago, but that person had persisted. The prison zone's core was surrounded by the power of the Great Path. Even with his martial path heavenly eye, Ji Yufei could only see a blurry figure. He was not sure if that person was his junior sister, Zhao Ziru. At this time, the three immortal emperors were already standing behind Ji Yufei. This time, the three immortal emperors had suffered a great shock. The beasts in the prison zone were too powerful and terrifying. Ming Qiong, what is that guy doing? Chapter 2770. After all, Ming Qiong had once been an overlord in the outer realm. Even though he'd surrendered to Ji Yufei, he still had the arrogance of a mighty lord. He didn't want to see Ji Yufei, but he had no choice. Ji Yufei had placed a seal on his primordial spirit, so his life was in the other's hands. This feeling of having his life in someone else's hands drove him crazy. But if he hadn't surrendered, he would have died at Ji Yufei's hands. Sometimes, if you wanted to live, you had to let go of your pride. Ming Qiong wasn't one of those pedantic people who valued his pride more than his life. Of course, there were still many people in the world of cultivation who valued their pride more than their lives. These people would rather die in battle than lower their heads. Clearly, Ming Qiong wasn't one of those people. Even the Black Chilean Tiger Emperor he was riding wasn't one of them. The arrogance and dignity of these creatures that had been sealed for countless years had been completely obliterated by the passage of time. To these great beasts, living was the most important thing. Rumble, at that moment, the spiritual essence of the world was still gathering towards the eye of the formation in the center of the prison zone. Beams of light that were visible to the naked eye flew over Ji Yufei's head like rainbows and entered the blurry figure in front of him. How domineering! Ji Yufei couldn't help but be moved. He knew that it wasn't the figure in front of him that was devouring the spiritual essence of the world. It was the thing in that person's hand that was stealing the spiritual essence of the world. What's going on? At that moment, not only was the spiritual essence of the entire prison zone being drawn over, but even the spiritual essence of the northern snowy region was being forcefully gathered here. The super experts in the northern snowy region quickly sensed that the spiritual essence of the world was being drained away. Something was devouring the spiritual essence of the world in the no man's zone. Did someone touch that thing? The heir of the heavenly palace of snowy region stood at the peak of a snowy mountain and gazed into the no man's zone. This person's gaze seemed to be able to ignore the barriers of space and see what was happening in the no man's zone. The heir of the heavenly palace of snowy region was dressed in white and wore a bamboo hat. No one could see his face or tell whether he was a man or a woman. The people of the heavenly palace of snowy region were mysterious. No one even knew where the sect was located. However, this person seemed to know many secrets of the world. It seems that the elders of the heavenly palace of snowy region are wise. The heir of the heavenly palace of Snowy Region sighed and turned to leave. At this time, the northern Snowy Region was in chaos. The Zhao clan could no longer truly control the northern Snowy Region. It was difficult for them to become the true overlord of the Snowy Region. The Golden Rocks had already received permission from the heir of Heavenly Palace to take over the territory of the Zhao family. Although the Zhao family had sent out many strong fighters, they still could not stop the Golden Rocks. During the battle with the Skywolf clan, the Zhao clan had lost 7 saints and suffered heavy losses. However, the Golden Rock clan had been recuperating for a long time and had countless experts. Under such circumstances, it was difficult for the Zhao clan to go against the Golden Rock clan. The Zhao family's territory was shrinking. To make matters worse, the Heavenly Wolf tribe was taking revenge on the Zhao family. They kept attacking the cities controlled by the Zhao family. The Heavenly Wolf tribe's territory was also expanding. Ever since the Heavenly Wolf ancestor defeated Madman Zhao, many forces in the Snowy Region had sought refuge with the Heavenly Wolf tribe. The power of the Heavenly Wolf tribe was no longer what it used to be. However, only the important figures of the Heavenly Wolf tribe knew that the Heavenly Wolf ancestor could only protect Celestial Wolf City. He could not use the ancient sacrificial altar to fight in all directions. If the ancient sacrificial altar could leave Celestial Wolf City, the overlord of the northern Snowy Region would have changed thousands of years ago. The Zhao family would not have had a chance. At this time, the experts of the northern Snowy Region had no time to care about the no-man's zone. The prison zone was collapsing. The prisons that held the ancient beasts were collapsing. Many of the beasts that were still alive broke out of their seals. The battle was inevitable. Ming Qiong intercepted 2 of the beasts and fought with them. In the end, he killed them and devoured their essence. Roar! The black Chilean tiger emperor beneath Ming Qiong roared. The tiger had also benefited greatly. After devouring half of the ancient beast's bodies, it had recovered much of its cultivation. "Ha, we'll guard here. We'll eat every beast that comes out." Ming Qiong laughed heartily. Devouring the essence, qi, and soul of other living beings was a very common method in the outer realms to raise one's cultivation. Of course, to the beings of the heavenly realm, this method was against the natural order of the world. It was not the right way to cultivate. If Ming Qiong wanted to recover his cultivation, he could only do so by devouring more powerful living beings. The beasts in the prison zone were his targets. "Your Majesty, instead of guarding here, why don't we take the initiative and attack?" The black Chilean tiger emperor suggested. "That's right. Let's kill our way in." Hearing this, Ming Qiong's eyes lit up. A powerful battle intent exploded from his body. Then, he rode the black Chilean tiger emperor and charged into the depths of the prison zone. The surging qi and blood that erupted from Ming Qiong's body was as eye-catching as a beacon in the prison zone, attracting the great beasts that had just escaped from their prisons. The prison zone was extremely vast. Who knew how many ferocious living beings had been imprisoned there? Although most of the beasts were dead, there were still many who had survived. "What is Ming Qiong doing?" Ji Yufei sensed Ming Qiong's aura. He immediately knew why Ming Qiong had taken the risk to enter the depths of the prison zone. He was definitely going to devour the beasts to recover his cultivation. "Ph, those beasts are not so easy to deal with," Ji Yufei muttered to himself. The peerless beasts imprisoned in the prison zone were definitely not weaker than Ming Qiong. If Ming Qiong encountered such existences, it was hard to say who would be the one to devour. Yi Futian had no intention of attacking. If those beasts escaped, others would come to capture them. It would not be his turn to attack. He had already sensed that at least 3 Holy Venerate experts had arrived near the prison zone. These 3 Holy Venerates were not the Heavenly Wolf Patriarch and the others. They were Holy Venerates that Ji Yufei had never seen before. It was definitely not a coincidence that these 3 Holy Venerates had appeared here. The 3 Holy Venerates had also sensed Ji Yufei's presence. However, they did not pay attention to Ji Yufei. Roar! At this moment, a loud roar rang out. A black dragon the size of a mountain rushed out of the prison zone, directly above Ji Yufei's head. Ji Yufei did not make a move. Boom! Just as the black flood dragon was a few hundred miles away, a huge golden hand descended from the sky and slapped the black flood dragon down.